The Beginning of Douluo with a pan. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151. Lick the Box. The soul bone of a 3-year-old black turtle. Tang Lin and Tang Hao stood in the distance, trying their best to recover their physical strength and condition, while staring at the black turtle. After half an hour, they finally saw the black turtle expired, and they were overjoyed. Especially Tang Lin, because he could already see from a distance the box emitting a strong red light created by the black turtle. That is the box of a 30-year-old soul beast. Second uncle, you continue to recover, and I'll come as soon as I can. Tang Lin said happily. It's been a long time since I licked the box. The 30-year-old black turtle. I wonder if it will drop anything good. Tang Lin was very excited. Soon, he flew down to the box and quickly put one hand on the box. Lick the box. Ding, the box licking was successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 412,340 box energy points, a 40-year-old black turtle soul ring, 10 sets of black turtle armor, a black turtle hiding mask, 300 kilograms of essence spiritual meat, and the heavenly spirit stone chalcedony. 1 drop, the torso bone of the boulder black turtle, 1 level 3 armor. Hiccup. Looking at the dazzling array of ultra rare treasures in the box, Tang Lin seemed to be stunned by these treasures. He was stunned for a moment, and then he realized what he was doing. He felt happy and burst into laughter. The first is the 41 boxes of energy. Unexpectedly, the lifespan of this black turtle has exceeded 40 years, but its strength has only reached the level of a 30-year-old beast. If it is at its peak, it should be the peak of the 30-year level. Infinitely close to the 40-year level. Tang Lin suddenly understood that maybe this black turtle was just trying to break through the 40-year level, so it wanted to break through by swallowing Tang Chen. However, he never expected that Tang Chen was a level 99 extreme Douluo, and he almost killed him with one strike. Killed him. Hey, what a poor turtle. Tang Lin silently mourned for him for 3 seconds in his heart. Black turtle armor, weighs 5 kilograms. It has amazing defense power and can resist the attacks of ordinary title Douluo below level 95. Durability 1015. Tang Lin saw that the black turtle armor was the color of stone, with some inconspicuous turtle shell patterns engraved on it, but the overall look was very cool. Unexpectedly, this armor can actually resist at least 10 attacks from ordinary title Douluo. Although it cannot resist the attacks of level 95 title Douluo, which is much worse than the Shianai golden armor, it is extremely rare. After all, there are as many as 10 sets. Black turtle hide mask has powerful hiding and camouflage abilities. Tang Lin likes this mask that is covered with mysterious patterns and looks like a turtle shell. Not only does its appearance give people a sense of mystery, but its functions are also somewhat beyond Tang Lin's expectations. However, he thought that the black turtle could not be hidden before. At that time, even Tang Hao couldn't find it, so he could only rely on destroying this place to lure him out, and he was immediately relieved. Black turtle essence soul flesh. It has the functions of prolonging life, strengthening the physical body, and powerful recovery. For such a huge black turtle, Tang Lin only got kilograms of animal meat in the end. Tang Lin was a little disappointed, but the spiritual meat of this black turtle did have quite a lot of functions. He only hoped that these functions could bring surprises. After all, the two of them came here for the meat of this black turtle. Xianling stone chalcedony, holy medicine for healing, with powerful healing properties. 1 drop can restore the severely injured black turtle of the 30-year-old level to its peak state. It was swallowed by the black turtle, but because it did not know the refining method, it was saved. It's quite complete. Attached is a special refining method. After receiving the introduction to the heavenly spirit stone chalcedony and the accompanying refining methods given by the system, the huge boulder hanging in Tang Lin's heart finally fell completely. Although I don't know why this drop of chalcedony was found and swallowed by the black turtle. Fortunately, this holy medicine is not so easy to refine and absorb. Now that it is completely preserved, it is enough for the second uncle to return to his peak state. The function of this drop of chalcedony made Tang Lin think of Oscar's plug-in soul skill in the future crystal caterpillar gut. Tang Lin believed that with this drop of chalcedony liquid in the essence of this 40-year-old black tortoise, his second uncle would be able to return to his peak state in a short time, and it might even make his strength even greater. Torno bone, level, armor, dropped by the host, after killing the beast for the first time. Although the introduction of the torso bone was extremely simple, he could feel that this soul bone was definitely not simple. After all, this soul bone was tailor-made for him by the system. The black turtle's body was like an island, floating on the sea. Tang Lin came back happily, after licking the box. "Why are you so happy?" Tang Heo opened his eyes and asked. Although Tang Lin had tried his best to suppress the joy in his heart, how could he hide this joy? "I don't know how much meat there is in such a big black turtle. I'm afraid it's enough to feed the entire Haitian sect for several years." Tang Heo sighed as he looked at the black turtle in the distance. "Where can I eat those beast meat? I only got 300 kilograms of essence beast meat, but it is enough." Tang Lin shook his head, then grinned and said, "Also, this soul beast dropped a trunk bone, which is very suitable for me. I accepted it. Of course, my second uncle has also done a lot, so I won't treat him badly." On the way back, Tang Lin figured it out. This torso soul bone naturally belonged to him, so he planned to take out the two soul bones from his backpack and give them to Tang Heo, so that Tang Heo could also improve his strength. Exclamation mark. This is a 10,000-year-old dragon elephant's left arm soul bone, and this is a 10,000-year-old fire phoenix's right leg bone. Both of them are very suitable for the second uncle. Tang Lin directly chose the two pieces drawn in the lottery as more suitable for Tang Heo took out the soul bone. Tang Heo was no longer surprised that Tang Lin could directly take out two soul bones without changing his expression. He was not pretentious. Now was not the time to be polite. He nodded immediately and accepted it. "Second uncle, don't worry. If I encounter a trunk bone that suits my second uncle in the future, I will definitely give it to you with both hands. I'm very satisfied to get these two soul bones. Just treat it as the reward for hiring me to rescue Tang Feng." Tang Heo smiled and then asked jokingly, "I just have a question. What do you do? Do you know that these two soul bones are just right for me? Did you already know that I have right arm and left leg soul bones?" I guessed it. Yes, I guessed it." Tang Lin smiled vaguely. Then without waiting for Tang Heo to speak, he took out the drop of chalcedony from the heavenly spirit stone and said, "Second uncle, this drop of spiritual marrow is the holy medicine for healing. It was also found from the black turtle. With this drop of spiritual marrow, coupled with the black turtle's essence, it doesn't take half a month, and you will definitely be able to return to your peak condition in a very short time." Return to peak condition? Chapter 152. Absorb trunk bones. Tang Xiao and -039's decision. Hearing Tang Lin's words, Tang Heo immediately put away his soul bones and focused all his attention on this drop of essence. Return to peak condition? What on earth is this? Can it really have such an effect? Tang Heo is the most aware of the injuries on his body. His injuries have already damaged his roots, almost to the point of severance. The extent of his journey as a soul master. Now that Tang Lin said that he could restore him to his peak state, he naturally found it hard to believe it, but then he thought that this was what Tang Lin said, and he suddenly believed it again. For a moment, he felt a little dazed. If this is the case, it means that he can continue to improve his strength in the future, and he really hopes to reach the level of his grandfather in this life. When did I lie to my second uncle? This is a holy healing object. I will give the refining method to my second uncle first. Tang Lin smiled, then handed the refining method to Tang Heo, and then said, "The second uncle first uses this method to slowly absorb and refine it. During this period, I will also cook the meat of the black turtle for the second uncle to eat." Although the strength of this black turtle is only 30 years old, but in fact, his lifespan has reached 40 years. The recovery ability of his spirit beast meat must be extremely powerful. With the blessing of my pan, I'm confident that I can make you Uncle Heo within a week. Return to peak condition. Tang Heo was not too surprised by the age of this soul beast, but he was really surprised when he heard Tang Lin say that he could return to his peak condition within a week, because he knew that his injuries were mainly due to the foundation had been damaged, so it was difficult to recover. Even if he could recover, he thought it would take at least 3 to 5 years. But now Tang Lin said that it would only take a week to return to peak condition. How could he not be surprised? In fact, if Tang Heo's injury hadn't damaged his foundation, and it would take a certain amount of time to recover, if it was an ordinary serious injury, it would probably only take Tang Lin half a day to recover. It is good. Tang Heo's eyes flashed. If he could return to his peak state as Tang Lin said, then saving Tang Feng would be a sure thing, and it's time for some people in Wuhan Palace to pay the price for the crimes they committed back then. Also, second uncle, I left those 2 soul bones to you. You should absorb them as soon as possible. Don't think about leaving them to mistress. He has his own opportunities. Tang Lin raised his eyebrows, smiled. Tang Heo had just put away the 2 soul bones, really intending to leave them to his son Tang San. But when he heard what Tang Lin said, he hesitated for a moment, then nodded and said, okay, then I will listen to you. For no other reason than he had begun to trust Tang Lin without reason, just like Tang Lin trusted him. Tang Lin looked around. Here, facing the sea, backed by the entire Death Island, there was a huge waterfall of hundreds of meters, like the Milky Way flowing backwards. Apart from the traces of the battle, the scenery here was quite good, and not only was it suitable for a treat for healing, and most importantly, it's also a great place to practice. And now that there was such a powerful titled Douluo by his side, how could Tang Lin let go of such a rare opportunity? But regarding cultivation, let's put it aside for now. We can wait until Uncle Heo has completely healed his injuries before asking him for advice. Tang Heo got the soul bones and spiritual marrow, went to a natural cave under the waterfall, and started refining and absorbing them. Tang Lin was protecting the law beside him. Of course, while protecting the law, Tang Lin was not idle either. He directly took out the torso bone. Tang Lin has just absorbed the 4th soul ring. However, his soul power has already reached level. He just lacks some background to absorb the 5th soul ring. Originally, he thought that he would need at least half a year to settle down before his physical strength is sufficient. He absorbed the 5th soul ring that he had already selected. However, now that we have this trunk bone, the situation is different. Now as long as this 30-year-old trunk bone is absorbed, the body's strength will definitely increase a lot, and then it will be able to absorb that first 5 soul rings. Thinking of this, Tang Lin smiled. While Tang Lin and Tang Heo were recuperating and practicing on the Death Island, Douluo continent caused an uproar because people from the Haoshan sect once again blatantly killed people from the Spirit Hall. In the eyes of most ordinary people, Wuhan Palace is sacred, but Haoshan sect has become the representative of villains in their eyes, and it is so arrogant that it dares to go against Wuhan Palace. Blood Moon City. In a modest room. Now we can't even find out where Tang Feng was imprisoned. It seems that the people from Wuhan Palace want to use the day of Tang Feng's public execution to lure us out. They don't want to collide with us during this period. Tang Xiao and the second elder have heard a lot of real information about Tang Feng, but they can't find even a single clue about where Tang Feng is being held. Nowadays, there are more and more people in Blood Moon City, and there are also more and more powerful people. Among these people watching the excitement, there must be many masters from Wuhan Palace. Is it possible that we really can only do it in public executions? It takes 1 day to see Tang Feng before he can take action? The second elder asked worriedly. The second elder saw what Tang Feng had done for the sect. Now that he was caught, he naturally could not stand by and watch. Among the many elders, only the second elder would agree to Tang Xiao coming out to rescue Tang Feng. If the other elders knew in this situation, they will never let the sect leader come out. So even though the first elder had reached the realm of titled Douluo, and his soul power was even 1 level higher than that of the second elder, Tang Xiao never thought of asking the first elder for help. I'm afraid this is a trap set up by Wuhan Palace to get rid of me. Junior brother Tang Feng just happened to be taken advantage of by Bibi Dang. If we take action on that day, the 2 of us will definitely not be able to save Tang Feng. Tang Xiao sighed. Moreover, Wuhan Palace is making such a big publicity. I'm afraid that the ultimate goal is still the second brother. They want to catch us two brothers in one fell swoop. Even if we don't take the bait, they will have nothing to lose. Bibi Dong is really a vicious tactic. The room was filled with a depressing atmosphere. Although both of them were titled Douluo, they still looked insignificant and powerless in front of the spirit hall. Their own people were slandered and killed in public, but they could not think of any feasible way to rescue them. Especially Tang Lin, as the sect leader of the Haitian sect, he felt extremely heavy at the moment. Tang Feng risked his life to walk on the continent alone for the sect. However, something happened at this moment. As the sect leader, as they were lying, but unable to do anything, after a long time, Tang Lin seemed to have made a decision, and his eyes gradually became firm. He bowed his hands to the second elder and said, "Second elder, I have something to ask of you now, and I hope the second elder will agree." Faced with Tang Lin's sudden solemnity, the second elder had already thought of what he wanted to say, but was unable to stop him. He could only respond bitterly, "Sect master, please speak. I remember that my father passed away a few years ago, and the sect faced a huge crisis. I had no choice but to abandon my second brother and let him be hunted by the spirit hall without any care." Tang Lin showed a decisive look, but now, the Haitian sect has announced its retirement, and the Wuhan Palace no longer has any reason to embarrass me. The Haitian sect, the first elder, the second elder, and the third elder have all become titled Douluo, and the third elder is about to become a titled Douluo. Even if the sect does not have me now, it will still affect the sect. Not big. Sect master. Upon hearing this, the second elder immediately shouted. Tang Lin immediately raised his hand to stop the second elder from admonishing him and said, "Second elder, please listen to what I have to say. Wuhan Palace still doesn't know that our Haitian sect has added 2 new titled Douluo, so, unless there is a probability of more than 80.00% that Tang Feng can be saved, you must not take action. Our Haitian sect now only needs to continue to lie dormant. When we are strong enough, we can join the 3 sects together. Only then can we barely resist the Wuhan Palace. After all, the 2 empires do not want the Wuhan Palace to be the only one. This time, if the second brother also comes, then I will choose to fight side by side with him. If I can save junior brother Tang Feng, I will take him to shield overseas. Wuhan Palace does not dare to extend its hands overseas. If we fail, the second elder can also use this to observe the strength of Wuhan Palace, and you need to bring this useful information back to the sect. One more thing you have to remember is that as long as the Haitian sect remains hidden from the world, Wuhan Palace will not publicly go to embarrass the Haitian sect." Tang Lin finished speaking in one breath, as if he was explaining the funeral arrangements. Tang Lin, as the leader of the Haitian sect, how could you do this? Tang Feng has already put his own life and death aside while running for the sect. Did you know that he had already prepared for the worst? The last thing he wants at the moment is for us to rescue him. If he knew, he would never allow you to do this. Of course, since we are here, we will naturally find a way to rescue him. But let me tell you Tang Lin, if nothing can be done, what we can do next is to protect his wife and children, strengthen the Haitian sect, and return to the mainland in the future, instead of accompanying him to die. That will only make the loved ones hate the enemies. It's just quick, you know. The second elder was now scolding and admonishing Tang Lin from the perspective of an elder. "No, uncle, I will never run away again this time." Tang Lin replied calmly, indifferently. Of course Tang Lin knew that Tang Feng would not agree to the Haitian sect's people going to rescue him, and he also knew that the only right thing to do now was to continue to be patient, but this time he no longer wanted to run away and retreat. The second elder still did not give up, and began a long period of persuasion, using both severe and tactful methods. Only then did he realize that no matter how much he tried to persuade him, he could no longer persuade Tang Lin. He had really done a good job this time. "I have become enlightened, and have made up my mind. Hey, if I had known this, I shouldn't have deceived everyone to come out with you. If I couldn't take you back, how would I explain to your uncles and the sect?" The second elder shook his head and sighed. "Endless. Forget it. Knowing that Tang Zhao couldn't be persuaded, the second elder finally relented. Since you have decided, it's up to you, but you have to know that you are the sect leader of our Haoshan sect, and you represent Haoshan sect. Since Wuhan Palace wants to destroy our Haoshan sect, then you have to let them know the consequences. Uncle, you finally agreed. Tang Zhao said excitedly. Huh, I don't agree that it's useful. Although I don't like your second brother either, because he offended the Wuhan Palace for a soul beast, which led to the current situation of our Haoshan sect. But there is one thing I like about him, that is, he has not fallen into our Haoshan sect so far. Prestige. When Tang Zhao heard this, he replied with the same seriousness. Second elder, don't worry, if it comes to that, I will let Wuhan Palace know that the Haoshan sect, are not easy to mess with. Chapter 153. Practice. Fight naked with the 10,000-year-old demon ape. Island of the Dead. Using the method given by Tang Lin, Tang Heo refined all the heavenly spirit stone chalcedony in just 3 days. Even though his body had not fully absorbed its energy, his body returned to a terrifying state. And until now, under the nourishment of the black turtle spirit beast, which Tang Lin eats 3 to 5 times a day, Tang Heo has finally completely returned to his peak state. In addition, having absorbed 2 soul bones, Tang Heo's current soul power is instantly at soared to level 94, and he felt that he was not far from level 95. You know, there is a huge difference between level 95 and titled Douluo below level 95. Although there is only one level of soul power difference between level 94 and level 95, it is like there is a huge gap, which is very satisfying. Beyond. However, now, Tang Heo can clearly feel that this huge gap can no longer hinder him. This gap is like flat ground in front of him. He only needs time to slowly accumulate soul power, and he can naturally break through it. This feeling was very subtle. Maybe it was brought by that drop of essence. Maybe it was the spirit in flesh. Maybe it was the soul bones. Or it was all brought together. He felt that his entire qualifications had not only returned to their peak, but had even gained not a small improvement. Just when Tang Heo was still immersed in joy, a team of neatly dressed soul masters appeared in the sky above the Death Island, where they had fought the Black Turtle. Look at those clothes. They are the Soul Master team from Wuhan Palace. Some time ago, because the battle here was very volatile, and the Black Turtle's cry before his death spread throughout the island, although no soul beast was still alerted, it alerted the people of Wuhan Palace, so Wuhan Palace sent let them come and check it out. However, when they saw the scene in front of them, all of them felt fear and shock. I feel the coolness on my back. What kind of monster is it? It can cause such a wide range of damage. Is it a human or a spirit beast? I thought that after so many days, there wouldn't be many traces left. Unexpectedly, even the seawater near here is still rolling back, and has not calmed down at all. What a terrifying combat power. Is this the legendary Island of Death? What exactly is happening here? Just the weak energy fluctuations raging in space can send chills down my back. Hurry and leave. This place is too dangerous. We can't continue to investigate. We must leave as soon as possible. The Soul Master who led the team looked solemn and immediately frowned. If they encounter a Soul Master, then they can still rely on the name of Wuhan Palace, but if it is a powerful soul beast, then they have only one way to die. And seeing such a large-scale destruction on the scene, I'm afraid that 2 or even more caused by 2 soul beasts fighting together. As for whether this is the case or not, it has nothing to do with them. They only need to report what they see now to the Elder Hall, and this trip can be considered as completing the mission. A group of 7 people quickly left the area. Tang Heo naturally felt them, and knew that they had left in a hurry, but how could he take these people in his eyes? He was still silently refining and digesting the remaining spiritual energy in his body. At this time, there is another part of the Death Island. Violent battle fluctuations suddenly spread, and here a person was shirtless fighting with a year-old demon ape. This person was Tang Lin. He had just absorbed the 5th soul ring, and his soul power still needed to be polished. Therefore, during this period of time, in addition to letting Tang Heo teach him how to practice at the waterfall, he would also come out from time to hone his soul power with the help of the soul beasts on the Death Island. Improve your own strength. Tang Lin's body was already extremely strong. After absorbing the torso bone, his body strength reached a new level, which is why he dared to fight like this with this 10,000-year-old demon ape. The battle continues, back and forth. This was the third time Tang Lin hated this demonic ape, and fought with him. Every time he fought to the fullest before retreating. Then within a few days, he used the flying to the ground technique, to search for its traces, and then rushed over to fight him. Brother ape, what are you looking at? It feels like you want to eat me. You have to know that this world is full of dangers. I'm helping you improve your strength now. Be friendly to me. Tang Lin, it was really strange to find that this demon ape had been staring at him fiercely since just now. This demon ape had long been gnashing his teeth in hatred towards Tang Lin, but there was absolutely nothing he could do against Tang Lin. Because he couldn't beat Tang Lin to death, the demon ape chased him once when Tang Lin was exhausted and retreated. However, in the end, he found that a powerful titled Douluo was staring at him from a distance. The demon ape wanted to cry, but had no tears. Can only return in vain. Tang Lin has seriously affected his life on Death Island. He is really helpless. Why did he end up with such a helpless guy like Tang Lin? Brother ape, pick up your spirits and attack me with all your strength. Demonic ape. Far away in the sky, a team of 7 soul masters advanced rapidly. There seems to be someone fighting the soul beast over there. A soul master with extremely keen observation said immediately. Don't mind your own business. It's not safe even here. Let's get out of here quickly, said the deputy leader. Wait a minute, the fluctuation of soul power there is not very obvious. It is obviously not a powerful person at the level of titled Douluo. Let's go over and have a look. Maybe that person knows something about the previous area. At this time, the team leader, the middle-aged man, suddenly stopped and looked at the deputy team leader. After all, we have collected too little information. It would not be good to go back like this. They are fighting on the ground. They should not be flying soul masters. It doesn't matter if they go and have a look. Just be careful. There are always people who can't help but wonder. After all, this island of death is a restricted area for humans. How dare anyone come in? So he spoke. Okay, then let's be careful. The deputy team leader finally agreed. Everyone smiled. Even though he is the deputy team leader, he is the person with the most ideas in the team and should have some background, so even the team leader respects him. They approached quietly. After a while, the soul master with extremely sharp eyes first saw the demon ape that was 6 or 7 meters tall. However, what surprised him was that the people fighting the demon ape turned out to be more than a dozen people. A young boy of years old, and he was still fighting naked, without even using his martial spirit. It was purely a physical confrontation. Although the demonic ape is not as powerful as a terrifying spirit beast like the titan giant ape, it is still an extremely powerful spirit beast. This young man can actually fight this spirit beast like this. This simply overturned his understanding of soul masters. Are there really such terrifying humans in this world? Chapter 154. Encounter with the soul master team of Wuhan Palace. At this time, Tang Lin was focused on fighting the demon ape. He hadn't noticed that someone was already approaching him, and he never thought that someone would go so deep into the island of death. Tang Lin kept stimulating the demon ape with words and asked him to fight with him with all his strength. However, Tang Lin did not even use his martial spirit. This really made the demon ape feel insulted. In addition, the demon ape's head was not bright enough, so in the end, Tang Lin was so angry with the teasing. Although his brain is not bright enough, it does not mean that he is stupid. He is not stupid at all. He knows how to sneak attack, how to accumulate power, and how to run away if he can't beat him. So he turned his anger into strength and prepared to give Tang Lin's Hang a hidden blow to let him know how powerful he was. At this moment, Tang Lin suddenly frowned and looked in a certain direction in the distant sky. How sensitive was his perception? Even though the opponent had tried his best to hide his aura, he still noticed that the 7 auras in the distance were quickly approaching him, and each aura was definitely much more powerful than this demon ape. However, the demon ape did not have such a strong sense of perception. When he saw Tang Lin suddenly distracted, although he was a little angry that Tang Lin didn't take him seriously, he was also extremely happy because Tang Lin finally showed his flaw. The demon ape immediately punched out his most powerful punch, hitting Tang Lin in front of him. Tang Lin quickly turned around, and with a thought, the black turtle armor had appeared on his body. Oh. The demon ape's fist hit Tang Lin's chest directly, colliding with the black turtle's armor, and Tang Lin was instantly knocked away. However, it only flew a few meters away, and then patted its chest with a normal expression, showing no emotion at all, because of the magic ape's sneak attack. The demon ape was stunned instantly. His eyes widened, as if everything that happened just now was false. His full blow did not cause even a little bit of damage to Tang Lin! What's wrong with this world? The demon ape was trembling wildly in his heart. No wonder this man has never used martial arts. So he is already so strong? The demon's legs became a little weak, and then he gradually retreated. Running away if he couldn't beat him was the only strategy he followed. Tang Lin patted his chest, and ignored the demonic ape. Instead, he sat down cross-legged to recover, as if he were at home. But what he didn't know was that among the group of soul masters in the distance, the beautiful soul master with deep and sharp eyes had seen this whole process, and was immediately shocked. At first, he was shocked that Tang Lin could fight hand to hand with the 10,000-year demonic ape at such a young age. Later, Tang Lin was actually able to notice that they were approaching. You know, they are all soul masters who are very good at hiding. Tang Lin was actually so far away. It was so bizarre to notice them approaching from afar. Just now, the demon ape's punch only knocked Tang Lin back a few meters, and Tang Lin was unharmed. The demon ape retreated directly. Tang Lin didn't take the demon ape seriously at all. Tang Lin gave her too much shock. He already doubted whether Tang Lin was human after all. Zero, what's wrong with you? Is there something wrong? The middle-aged man who led the team was more concerned about her, so he was the first to notice her abnormality, so he asked through a message. That seems to be an extremely young boy, and this boy is not simple. She named Xiaoxio replied. With that said, the group of them had already arrived in the sky above Tang Lin's head, and the demon ape had already escaped. Of course, except for Zio, who had extremely strong observation skills. The remaining 6 of them thought it was their own aura that had driven this ape away. The spirit beast was scared away. When they got closer, the little boy discovered that Tang Lin was a soul king, and Tang Lin also felt the strength of the 7 of them. The 2 middle-aged men and a beautiful woman standing at the front were soul saints, and the remaining 4 it is a soul emperor. They were wearing the clothes of Wuhan Palace, so they were naturally from Wuhan Palace, and they were all flying soul masters. Even in Wuhan Palace, there were definitely not many teams of soul masters like this. Sure enough, except for people who don't care about their lives, only people from Wuhan Palace dare to come to this place. 3 soul saints and 4 soul emperors. Tang Lin didn't take them seriously. The 7 people observed for a moment and found that there were no powerful soul beasts around, so they slowly fell down with confidence. Seeing Tang Lin still sitting on the ground with his eyes closed, he didn't take them seriously at all, and he didn't intend to thank them for helping him scare away the spirit beast. Among the 4 people standing behind him, one person couldn't bear it immediately. Stood up first, and shouted to Tang Lin, "Hey, we just helped you drive away that soul beast, which can be regarded as saving your life. You should say thank you to us. Don't you even know this basic etiquette?" When Tang Lin heard this, he opened his eyes. So they thought the spirit beast was scared away by them? "Thank you," Tang Lin replied with a smile. Although the people from Wuhan Palace arrested his father, he would not be hostile to the entire Wuhan Palace people because of this incident. Since they thought they saved him, he might as well cooperate with them. As the saying goes, you can't reach out to hit someone with a smiling face. When Tang Lin smiled politely back at him, he suddenly became a little angry. "Yuan Feng, come back," the deputy leader shouted. Judging from Tang Lin's ability to fight a 10,000-year-old demon ape, Tang Lin's strength is definitely not weak. This is not the point. The point is that he is so young now. How old is he? Moreover, when Tang Lin faced so many strong men like them, he didn't even have the slightest bit of extra emotion. Surprising. At this moment, the only thing everyone can feel is these 2 animals. All this is really weird. If you think about it carefully, was the demon ape really scared away by their breath just now? Thinking back to the horrific and destructive scene they saw not long ago, they broke out in a cold sweat. This death island is indeed a death island. Everything is weird. But since they are all here, and no matter how weird the young man in front of him is, his strength is still inferior to any of them. So the deputy leader stepped forward and asked Tang Lin, "Little brother, we are from Wuhan Hall. We don't have anything. It's malicious. I just want to ask you something." He asked his question, and Tang Lin was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the battle with Zhuangui would actually alert the people of Wuhan Palace. "I don't know." Tang Lin shook his head in confusion. Tang Lin pretended to be natural, and the deputy team leader immediately sighed, thanked him, and said to his teammates, "In this case, let's go back first. It is good. The 4 Soul Emperors recovered the fastest." They also felt the weirdness here. They had never thought that such a young boy could actually fight against the 10,000-year-old demon ape. It was weird, really weird. After they agreed, they felt a lot more comfortable for no reason, except for the difference in their expressions. One was the little female soul sage. Her peripheral vision fell on the black turtle armor on Tang Lin. She was probably the only one who knew here that the demon ape was actually scared away by Tang Lin, and the armor on Tang Lin's body could actually block the demon ape's strongest blow without being damaged at all. This is undoubtedly an extremely powerful defensive armor. And as a reconnaissance soul master, her weakest point is her defense ability. If there is such a defensive armor, she has deep greed in her eyes. There is another one, naturally the leader. Although the 2 of them hid their greed very well, they were still caught by Tang Lin. Tang Lin remained expressionless, and the 7 of them soared into the sky and left the forest. Tang Lin knew that the 2 Soul Saints just now would definitely find an excuse to leave the team, then come back to look for him, and then of course they would kill and seize the treasure. Really? It didn't take long for the 2 of them to arrive. Tang Lin was still sitting cross-legged on the ground recovering, and did not leave here, but at this moment, the corner of his mouth raised a slight arc. "You too, is there anything else?" Seeing the 2 people walking towards him, Tang Lin asked. "Oh, it's nothing. I just have some questions I want to ask you." The middle-aged face walked over with a smile and approached Tang Lin very naturally. "By the way, what's your name? We saw that you are young. You are actually able to fight the demon ape, so I would like to represent our Wuhan Palace and solemnly invite you to join." Both of them had kind smiles. If they were other people of the same age, they would definitely think that they were 2 excellent people. However, Tang Lin knew that beneath their gentle smiles, there was murderous intent. Just as the middle-aged man finished speaking, he was already 2 meters away from Tang Lin. Before Tang Lin could answer, he suddenly burst out with a powerful soul power and aura. The martial spirit possessed him almost instantly. The powerful arms grabbed Tang Lin's throat directly. This move actually exploded with all his power. Facing this protruding move, as long as you can't react, no matter how strong you are, it's useless, because if you are really caught by him, the fragile human neck will be pinched in an instant. Tang Lin knew that the 2 men were cautious and knew that they would attack in this way, so the result was not as the 2 soul masters expected, and Tang Lin easily dodged it. The 2 soul masters were immediately surprised, but how rich their combat experience were. Even if Tang Lin could barely dodge 1 blow, he wouldn't have time to dodge the next one. Just when Tang Lin had just escaped the fatal blow from the middle-aged man, sure enough, the attack from the little female soul master had already arrived in front of Tang Lin. Now, both soul saints looked proud, as if they had seen Tang Lin's tragic death, and they themselves would get Tang Lin's armor that looked extraordinary. However, what they didn't expect was that Tang Lin not only didn't show a trace of panic, but also showed a weird smile that made them feel as if they had fallen into an ice cave. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156. Go to Blood Moon City and meet the 2 brothers. Because he is still immersed in panic and grief. After all, Mireng Xiaoxiao is his beloved woman, so he has no other thoughts at the moment. Of course, he will not be stupid enough to come down and fight Tang Lin for Mireng Xiaoxiao. Seeing Tang Lin's calm and cold eyes staring at him like a ferocious beast, a chill ran down the middle-aged man's back. Without any hesitation, he immediately turned around and left. But how could Tang Lin let him go? He just attacked me secretly and wanted to take his own life. HMPH, since you're already here, don't leave. Tang Lin snorted coldly, slowly squatted down, and then with one force, his whole body shot into the air like a rocket. The ground cracked again. The middle-aged man who had already flown a certain distance suddenly felt something strange behind him and immediately accelerated his speed. At the same time, he turned around and his eyes widened. He saw that Tang Lin's golden armor actually grew a pair of huge wings. Tang Lin flew towards him at an extremely fast speed. The speed was so fast that Tang Lin's whole body became illusory. It is simply not the speed that a Soul Saint level powerhouse can possess. Sir, spare my life. The middle-aged man knew that he could not escape, so he stopped running instead. His great desire to survive made him shout out these words immediately. He actually directly begged for mercy and called Tang Lin your lord. Earlier when you decided to kill people and buy goods, you should have had the consciousness to be killed. Begging for mercy now will only make your death more embarrassing. Tang Lin also stopped and put away his soul ring. The terrifying flames on the pan disappeared and the pan instantly shrank in size. Knowing that Tang Lin would not let him go, the middle-aged man immediately regretted it, but he also knew that, even if he regretted it now, it was of no use. Okay, since you won't let me go, I won't make it easy for you either. The middle-aged man made up his mind and his face became ferocious. Just now, it was just that Xiaoxiao was too careless, and that's why you killed him with one blow. I won't be as careless as her. Don't worry. Seeing that you were also bewitched by her, I will give you a chance this time. I won't use the soul skills of the soul ring to fight you. If you can persist in 10 moves without being killed by me, I will let you go. Tang Lin shook his head and smiled. Any little carelessness is of no use in the face of the disparity in strength. Okay, this is what you said. The middle-aged man was overjoyed, as if he had grasped a life-saving straw. Then, as if he was worried that Tang Lin would regret it, he immediately attacked Tang Lin. He was a spirit master of the agility attack system, so he was extremely fast when using spirit skills in battle, and he could reach Tang Lin almost instantly. Starter however, Tang Lin, who was wearing shiny golden armor, was faster and easily dodged his attack. At the same time, he turned around and hit the middle-aged man with a pan. The middle-aged man was shocked. He never expected that, even if Tang Lin didn't use the soul skills of the soul ring, he still couldn't shake him. He could feel the energy of this pot. If he was hit, there would be unpredictable consequences. Something happened. For a moment, his wings vibrated, and he reached his maximum speed, successfully dodging Tang Lin's attack. However, before he could breathe a sigh of relief, Tang Lin's attack came again. Only now did he know that Tang Lin's attack did not stop at all. His first attack and second attack were connected together, and the second attack, this attack is more than twice as powerful as the first attack. Is this a self-created chain attack soul skill? The middle-aged man couldn't believe that Tang Lin could actually create his own soul power at such a young age, and once he activated it, he would continue attacking until he completed the entire attack or defeated his opponent. The middle-aged man suddenly felt tremendous pressure. It turned out that of the 10 moves Tang Lin mentioned, he might not be able to persist even with the one he asked him to do. This is the 18 beats of the encirclement that Tang Lin spent 100,000 boxes of skills to improve to a higher level. Of course, it will not be simple. The first attack reached the strongest blow of an ordinary Soul Saint strongman, and every time he swung it, each pot is more aggressive and aggressive than the previous one. After the middle-aged man luckily escaped 2 attacks, he was already a little weak. The third attack came. Although he had run far away, Tang Lin was faster, and he was still within Tang Lin's attack range. No. Seeing the pan coming towards him with an extremely huge momentum, the middle-aged man screamed heartbreakingly. Oh. Without any suspense, the man was instantly shot away and shot from the air to the ground. The place where he was about to land was exactly where Mirang Xiaoxiao was killed just now. Is this already calculated? He was still unwilling to give in at this moment. He regretted it very much and even had some hatred for Mirang Xiaoxiao in his heart. Boom. Right next to Mirangzia, another huge pit appeared. However, this pit was only the size of a person. The middle-aged soul master died like this with regret and unwillingness. The whole family must be tidy. These two were obviously partners, so I guess I did a good thing by burying them together. After licking the box and receiving a lot of soul crystals and ring beans, Tang Lin left immediately and soon came to the back of the waterfall where Tang Heo practiced. Second uncle, everything is ready now, we can leave, Tang Lin said as soon as he came in. Uncle Heo has completely recovered to his peak state, and after absorbing 2 soul bones, his strength has greatly increased. Tang Lin is already very confident about rescuing his father. Well, after all calculation, there are still less than 10 days. It's time to go over and check out the situation. Let's go. Tang Heo agreed. Blood Moon City. There are still 7 days before the public execution of Tang Feng of the Haoshan sect, and Blood Moon City is already extremely crowded at this time. Not only people from Wuhan Palace, but also many people from the 2 major empires, the 7 major sects, and some sects as powerful as the Ming Demon Sword sect, all came here. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that this is a trap set up by the Wuhan Palace for the Haoshan sect and Tang Heo. Maybe no one from the Haoshan sect will come, but with Tang Heo's temper, if he knew, he would definitely come. Everyone is waiting for the show. They had all heard that Haoshan Douluo had a fight with Yuanzin not long ago. In such a short period of time, they didn't know what Tang Heo's condition was like, and what would be the outcome if he came. Many people have only heard of the horrific deeds of this generation of Haoshan Douluo, such as killing the Pope, brainstorming the Haoshan sect, injuring Yuanzin and leaving safely, etc. But they have only heard of it, and no one has ever heard of it. They had seen what kind of scene it was, so they were all looking forward to seeing the battle between Haoshan Douluo and Wuhan Palace. Therefore, in Blood Moon City today, the number of soul masters has almost exceeded the number of civilians. It took Tang Lin and Tang Heo 2 days to reach the vicinity of Blood Moon City. However, on the way into the city, Tang Heo kept observing his surroundings, but he kept frowning. Second uncle, what's wrong? It's the mark left by the eldest brother to me. Tang Heo looked at the privilege symbol on the pillar in the distance and wondered. The eldest brother actually guessed that I was coming back, but wasn't he supposed to be in the waiting sect? How did he know? What happened here, and even came here? Is it the sect leader's uncle? Tang Lin asked. Tang Heo frowned and nodded. It should be Wuhan Palace who specially passed the news to the sect leader's uncle. Tang Lin said, Martial Soul Palace wants to test whether you will come. If you come, they plan to catch you all. Second uncle, let's go find them quickly. Since it is the special number left by Tang Zio to Tang Heo, it means that Tang Heo can find him in this big city. But Tang Lin saw a look of embarrassment on Tang Heo's face. Tang Lin then remembered that Tang Heo had always felt that he owed the sect, so even when facing Tang Zio, it was a bit difficult for him to face him. Second uncle, now we have one more person and more strength. Moreover, the sect leader's uncle must have arrived much earlier than us. We don't have to waste time collecting information. They must have it there. Tang Lin began to enlighten Tang Heo. He warned. Moreover, if we don't plan together with them before taking action, we will be in disarray. Since Wuhan Palace has decided to hunt you, it must have thought of various consequences and made complete preparations. It is not uneasy now. It's time. Tang Heo immediately rolled his eyes at Tang Lin. Tang Lin was indeed grinning with bared teeth. Tang Heo was silent for a moment and finally sighed helplessly and said, well, we always have to face it. With I come. Half an hour later, Tang Heo followed the mark and found the location of the tavern where Tang Zio and the second elder were hiding. It has to be said that the place Tang Zio chose to hide is indeed the best choice. It is extremely hidden here, and there are very few strong people. However, it is next to the city, and it is convenient for inquiring about information. In this kind of place, even if you are discovered, you will not be able to hide. Can escape as fast as possible. Dang dang dang. Tang Lin stepped forward and knocked on the door. After a moment, the door opened, and a middle-aged man with a rough face and an old man with white hair on his head appeared in the eyes of Tang Lin and Tang Heo. It was Tang Zio and the second elder of the sect. Big brother. Even a tough guy like Tang Heo, with tears in his eyes at this moment, uttered the word big brother with excitement and apology. After several years, the two brothers meet again. Brother Heo, it's really you. Tang Zhao was equally excited, and at the same time, he felt a little sorry for his brother. The two immediately hugged each other, and Tang Lin and the second elder treated them as if they were nothing. Second brother, you are here as expected. How have you been lately? I heard that you had a fight with Yu Yuansen. What happened? Were you injured? Brother, I'm fine. Why are you here? Is it really Wuhan Palace who intentionally notified Haoshan sect? Cough cough. The two of them were saying one thing after another, which immediately made the second elder next to them a little unhappy. Well, Tang Heo, the sinner of the sect, has met the second elder. Only then did Tang Heo realize that there was another person behind Tang Zhao. Chapter 157. Tang Lin was furious when his father broke his arm. Now that Haoshan Douluo Tang Heo has joined, they have more confidence. Although the second elder is still blaming Tang Heo, he also knows that now is not the time to hold Tang Heo accountable, so they exchanged a few words. After that, we started to get to the point. Brother, since you have been here for more than half a month, have you found out any useful information? Tang Heo asked. Tang Lin next to him finally cheered up. He was really worried about his father's current condition. Although we have been here for more than half a month, and have been inquiring about information through various channels every day, we have really received almost no useful information. Tang Zhao suddenly shook his head, and said with an ugly look on his face, we really can't find any information about where Tang Feng is being held. He should have been hidden by Wuhan Palace before we came here. The second elder also nodded. Can't we find out more about my father? Tang Lin was disappointed and asked unwillingly. Not really, it's just what? Tang Lin asked quickly. I think it's better that you don't know. Let's discuss how to rescue him. Uncle Master, Grandpa Elder. Tang Lin called out immediately. He really wanted to know the news about his father now. Although he knew that Wuhan Palace would not attack his father at the moment, he was still worried. Hey, why are you doing this? As for how to rescue, when I see my uncle and the second elder again, I already have some plans in mind. With Uncle Heo here, we can definitely rescue my father. Tang Lin immediately said, so, please invite my uncle and the second elder. Tell me the news about my father, I really want to know now. As soon as Tang Lin said these words, the second elder and Tang Zhao were immediately surprised. They had been thinking hard here for so many days. Even if Tang Heo's combat power was taken into account, they had not yet come up with a definite rescue plan, and Tang Lin actually said directly that he already had a rescue plan, and he can definitely rescue Tang Feng. They really didn't know where Tang Lin's confidence came from. Tang Zhao looked at Tang Heo, and was surprised to find that Tang Heo had a smile on his face, and nodded slowly to him. Brother, tell him. Anyway, he should be able to find out by himself outside. And he can tell it. That's right, with me here, we are more than 80.00% sure about rescuing Tang Feng. It's not that Tang Zhao and the second elder didn't calculate Tang Heo before, but in their calculations, Tang Heo was just a more powerful ordinary titled Douluo who was seriously injured. However, half a month ago, Tang Heo was indeed like this. But things are different now. Tang Heo, who has returned to his peak state and absorbed 2 more soul bones, now has the confidence to face Qin Dao Liu, so he said such words. Tang Zhao knew his brother very well, and knew that Tang Heo was truly confident, and not just aimless. While he was surprised and confused, he also showed a happy smile. Because from here he could judge that Tang Heo was definitely not seriously injured, and there was hope of rescuing Tang Feng. He was naturally overjoyed. Okay, I can tell you, but don't worry too much. Wuhan Palace will not kill father easily before leading us out. Tang Zhao said to Tang Lin. Okay, I know. Your father Tang Feng was previously imprisoned in the Wuhan Palace of Blood Moon City, but was later transferred by the Wuhan Palace. We still cannot find out the information after the transfer, but before he was transferred, we found out he was killed because he killed Mu Kiki, the younger brother of Mu Kesan, the master of Wuhan Hall and Blood Moon City. He was then hunted down by Ni Yuan, the leader of Ming Mo knife sect, and was finally captured by Ni Yuan. He was handed over to Wuhan Hall. What we know is that Tang Feng had one of his arms chopped off while fighting Ni Yuan of the Ming Demon Sword sect. Upon hearing this, Tang Heo immediately clenched his fists, and a terrifying aura vaguely emerged from his body. However, he didn't curse in anger, he didn't even say a word, but his silent silence made Tang Xiao and others feel the anger in his heart. Feeling the powerful aura emanating from Tang Lin's body, the second elder and Tang Xiao noticed that the aura on Tang Lin's body had actually reached the Soul King level. How can that be? Tang Xiao and the second elder looked at each other. Tang Lin was less than 11 years old. They couldn't believe this was true. This can no longer be described as a genius. It is simply a monster. Tang Xiao and the second elder couldn't help but shake their heads. The Haoshan sect could not let such a monster enter the family tree. This is really the greatest irony to the Haoshan sect. Is there any more? Seeing that Tang Xiao remained silent for a long time, Tang Lin finally spoke. Yes, and you can probably imagine that, because your father killed Mukashin's younger brother when he was imprisoned by Mukashin. He used the Wuhan palace almost every moment. He tortured him with torture tools. It is said that your father was detained by him for more than 10 days. 10 days? Mukashin, thinking of his father's broken arm, but still being treated inhumanely at the hands of Mukashin for more than 10 days in a row, Tang Lin finally couldn't suppress the overwhelming anger in his heart. Oh. Just clenching the clenched fist a little harder, the ground where the fist was facing was directly blasted open. Father. Tang Lin's eyes flashed with tears, but he would not shed tears. Soon, he gradually calmed down his emotions. He knew that now was not the time to shed tears. The most important thing now was what to do to increase the probability of rescuing his father 100%. Okay, Uncle Sect Master, thank you for informing me of my father's news. Next, it's time for us to discuss the specific plan to rescue my father. It's okay. You don't have to worry too much about your father. At least he is safe now, and he probably won't be abused by Mukashin anymore. Tang Xiao comforted him. Tang Heo, you are the strongest here. Please tell me how we should rescue him. The second elder looked directly at Tang Heo. I think we should listen to Tang Lin's idea first. Tang Heo smiled and shook his head, then looked at Tang Lin and said, tell me, what are your plans? It was supposed to be Tang Heo or Tang Xiao as the mastermind, but now it suddenly turned into a little brat like Tang Lin. The second elder was immediately a little unhappy. Even if Tang Lin is a monster, he is just a Soul King now, and doesn't know how to title. With the specific strength of Douluo level, how could he come up with any reliable plan? Even Tang Xiao was also confused, so he looked at Tang Heo with eyes asking for his meaning, but Tang Heo smiled and said nothing, pretending to be profound, which made him a little helpless. But since Tang Heo has said so, and Tang Lin has just said that he has some ideas in his mind, it doesn't hurt to listen. So everyone looked at Tang Lin. At this moment, Tang Lin had 3 titles. The object of Douluo's expectations. Chapter 158. Rescue Plan and Assassination of the Master of Wuhan Palace. Seeing that the 3 people were looking at him almost at the same time, Tang Lin was silent for a moment. After thinking clearly, he finally raised his head and took out the angel's disguise from his space backpack. Before I tell you my plan, there are a few things I need to bring out for you to understand. Mask? I can feel that this mask seems very unusual. Is it a soul guide? 0-inch Tang Xiao frowned after seeing what Tang Lin took out. This mask is indeed not an ordinary mask. You can also think of it as a special soul tool. Its name is Angel's Disguise. As the name suggests, it has the ability to disguise. Tang Lin took the mask to everyone in front of him. He began to explain, not only can it change the voice, breath, and momentum of the person wearing the mask, it can even disguise the user's martial soul and soul ring. Hiss, is it true? There is such a magical thing in this world? Tang Xiao and the second elder were extremely surprised. Tang Heo looked as if this was indeed the case. Tang Lin refreshed his knowledge every time, and he was used to it now. If you don't believe it, you can all try it. The second elder took it first, and used the method Tang Lin gave him to put on the angel's disguise. Sure enough, he found that this thing was really magical. Looking at the 9 red soul rings under their feet, the second elder and Tang Xiao were both stunned. This mask could actually disguise martial souls and soul rings, and it could even do this. Where did you get this divine object? The second elder asked excitedly, and Tang Xiao next to him also showed longing eyes. Well, what I can tell you is that I did have some adventures. Otherwise, I would not have been able to cultivate my soul power to where it is now in just over 4 years. But as for the others, I can't say more. I said it. Tang Lin said sarcastically. The two wanted to ask again, but Tang Lin didn't say anything more, so they had to give up. Next, Tang Lin once again brought out some things that they had never seen or heard of before. After explaining the uses of these things, Tang Lin revealed his plan. Of course, the plan that one person suddenly came up with must have loopholes, but Tang Heo, Tang Xiao, and the second elder also added their own ideas, and the 4 of them discussed the entire plan together. This plan was tinkered with, and they continued to discuss it from morning until the sun went down, before they finally finalized one set of plans and 3 preliminary plans. After this day, the 3 of them were completely conquered by Tang Lin, who was only 10 years old, because he was so young, but the IQ is not lower than any of them. Okay, the plan has been finalized, and there is no news about your father. Let's just wait until the execution meeting in a week. Uncle Heo, Sect Master, and Second Elder, just wait in Blood Moon City and take a look at how many powerful people are coming to Wuhan Palace. Tang Lin stood up at this time and said slowly, I still want to wait for you. There are some things that need to be dealt with. You want to avenge Tang Feng, right? Tang Xiao frowned. That's right, Mukashin of Wuhan Palace treated my father like this, how could I let him go? After Tang Xiao guessed it, Tang Lin confessed directly. He didn't want to hide it from everyone. Since Wuhan Palace has offended us, I will not let them have an easy time. Before the real decisive battle comes, I will make Wuhan Palace bleed. No. The second elder immediately slapped the case and said, Mukashin, as the master of the Soul Palace in Blood Moon City, is at least a Soul Emperor level expert. You, a mere Soul King, are no different than striking an egg against a stone. That's right. Tang Xiao also agreed at this time. The image of Wuhan Palace in the hearts of many people is that of justice and selflessness. However, this time they allowed us to find out so easily how your father was abused by Mukashin. This thing is not reasonable at all. Maybe it is a trap set up by Wuhan Palace. Maybe Mukashin is the bait. Uncle Master, Second Elder, you don't have to worry about me. I have actually thought of the situations you mentioned. I know that there are even powerful titled Douluo level warriors from the spirit hall hidden around Mukashin at the moment. There may be more than one. But now I'm not looking for him to fight for his life, but to assassinate him. Since I have decided, it means I'm sure. Tang Lin explained that, although he did not want the elders to worry about him, but this Mukashin is so hateful that killing him will not satisfy his hatred. Tang Xiao and the second elder were a little shocked by what Tang Lin said. Even now, they couldn't guarantee that they could kill Mukashin in front of the strong men of Wuhan Palace. Tang Lin actually said that he was sure, and it means that he can still escape unscathed. How does this not shock them? However, Tang Lin is the most evil person they have found so far, but he is still in the growth stage. How can they trust such a person to go to such a dangerous place as Wuhan Palace? Seeing that Tang Xiao and the second elder did not dare to let Tang Lin go alone and that Tang Lin was embarrassed, Tang Heo finally stood up and said, let him go, since he is sure nothing will happen to him. What a joke. Tang Lin had fought side by side with him against a 30-year-old ferocious beast. How could the Blood Moon City Spirit Hall do anything to him? Brother Heo, why are you even? Brother, even if you don't believe him, why don't you believe me? Don't worry, everything will be fine. Before Tang Xiao could finish speaking, Jiu was interrupted by Tang Heo. Uncle Master, I know you are worried about me, and for my own good, but this time, I have to do it. And I'm absolutely sure that you don't have to worry about me. Tang Lin saw that Tang Xiao was still showing a smile. With a look of embarrassment, he spoke again. Hey, come on, I can't be stubborn with you anyway. You are Tang Feng's only son. You must not get into trouble, otherwise I don't know what to explain to your father. Tang Xiao and the second elder finally compromised. In the past few days, you should use the soul crystals and ring beans I gave you to practice hard and strive to adjust your condition to the best. After saying the last sentence, Tang Lin left the three of them. At this time, the night was already deep, and Tang Lin slowly moved forward in the direction of Wuhan Palace. According to the information given by Tang Zhao and the second elder, now is a special period. As the master of Wuhan Palace in Blood Moon City, Mu Kexin is most likely to receive Wuhan City in Wuhan Palace or a nearby hotel. The strong men from the Wuhan Palace, who are waiting to come over. When the time comes, Mu Kexin will definitely be surrounded by powerful people, but Tang Lin remains unmoved at all. The so-called assassination is to take action when others think they are least likely to take action, and to take action when others are not expecting it. At that time, it is useless, no matter how many strong people are around you. As for how to escape after a successful assassination, Tang Lin is also full of confidence. This confidence is not because he has a level 95 title Douluo experience card. At this moment, he no longer has any title Douluo experience card, but he still has the confidence to and retreat. Because his confidence comes from the skills brought by this 30-year-old Trunkbone. Chapter 159. The Soldier of Mount Muke, the Wrath of the title Douluo of Wuhan Palace, Star Luo Empire, Blood Moon City. Although this is the territory of the Star Luo Empire, it borders the Xiandao Empire, and Wuhan City, the central force of Wuhan Palace, is not very far from here. Whether it is people from the two empires or Wuhan Palace, when they come this Blood Moon City is extremely easy. So a few days ago, the city was filled with powerful men from all major forces in the mainland. Perhaps, this is one of the reasons why Bibi Dong chose the battlefield here. Moreover, even if Blood Moon City was destroyed due to the battle, the loss would be to the Star Luo Empire, and not the Spirit Hall. At the front of the Wuhan Palace in Blood Moon City, in a restaurant called Xingxing Restaurant, the master of the palace, Mu Kexin, was drinking and having fun with a group of powerful soul masters. These soul masters include people from Wuhan Palace, as well as many people from other families and sects. But there is no doubt that most of these forces are dependent on or surrender to Wuhan Palace. If Tang Lin wanted to enter the Wuhan Hall, he naturally had to pass through this restaurant, and this was one of the most likely places for Mu Kexin to appear at this time, so he immediately stepped in with great swagger. After entering, Tang Lin used his powerful perception to carefully search the entire building. His plan was to sneak into the Spirit Hall to search, if he couldn't find it here. But he himself did not expect that this time he would be very lucky. Not long after, he heard the word Palace Master from far away, so he found an opportunity and selected the floor and table with the waiter. And after ordering some food, we went upstairs to wait. When he came upstairs, Tang Lin paid close attention to the private room he had locked just now. There were many people drinking and having fun inside. Soon, he determined that Mu Kexin was in this private room. It's really hard to find a place to break through the iron shoes, and it takes no effort to get it. At this time, Tang Lin was determined. Tang Lin hid his emotions and continued to observe. The hotel's efficiency was very fast, and Tang Lin's order arrived not long after. While Tang Lin was eating, he was paying attention to the private room. He could sense that most of the strong men on the table were at the Soul Emperor level. There were also some whose specific strength was not yet clear, based on his current strength. Maybe one of them was there, maybe more than one titled Douluo. It's not even certain that he has been watched closely by people in the dark since he came to this floor, but these have nothing to do with him. He looked through the window at the majestic building, which was the Wuhan Palace. It was very close to the Wuhan Palace. If you use the speed of a titled Douluo, you could reach it in an instant. Tang Lin thought while eating. Mu Kexin may not even know that he has been used as bait by Wuhan Palace. After all, in Tang Lin's view, the sacrifice of his younger brother Mu Kiki was just the work of Wuhan Palace. Tang Lin also knew something about these two brothers, so he guessed that maybe these two brothers were not obedient enough and always brought trouble to Wuhan Palace, destroying the image of justice in Wuhan Palace, so they were chosen by the people above. Be a scapegoat. After a while, Mu Kexin was about to come out. Tang Lin immediately put aside these thoughts and naturally pretended to be full. His current strength is only at the Soul King level, so even if someone has already noticed him, they will not take him seriously. After all, Mukashin himself is already a Soul Emperor level powerhouse. Naturally, characters cannot threaten him, and besides, who would send someone with lower strength than the Soul Emperor to assassinate him? Tang Lin knew this very well, so even if he accidentally approached him in a suit, no one would stop him, and Mukashin would not be too wary of him. If so, his assassination would be almost impossible. Said it was % successful. However, as Tang Lin thought about it, he suddenly felt that something was wrong. Could this be too simple? Can he really succeed so easily with a powerful Soul Emperor and even a titled Douluo beside him? After thinking about it for a long time, he still couldn't think of a way to do it. Tang Lin simply gave it up, and gave it all. Even if the assassination fails this time, it will at least allow him to live in fear in the following days, and continue to welcome his next assassination. No matter what the situation is, there is no loss for Tang Lin. At this moment, Tang Lin finally made up his mind. Crack. The door of the private room was opened. The first ones to come out were a few drunken middle-aged men, their faces full of alcohol. Tang Lin stood up slowly at this time, wiped the corners of his mouth, and made the same gesture of preparing to go downstairs. 7 or 8 people came out in succession. Finally, Mukashin, the master of Wuhan Palace, walked out slowly. Behind him was a group of 6 or 7 soul masters from Wuhan Palace. 2 of them had slightly stronger auras, but at this moment, Tang Lin was sure that even these 2 people had not reached the realm of titled Douluo. It seems that there is no powerful titled Douluo around him at all. Think about it, how could someone at the titled Douluo level care about his life and death? Even if Wuhan Palace uses Mukashin as bait, Wuhan Palace it only took a moment to get here. It doesn't matter if I'm by his side or not. After confirming that there was no powerful titled Douluo around Mukashin, Tang Lin felt even more delighted. It seemed that tonight was indeed the day for his death. Mukashin walked slowly towards this side, while Tang Lin walked over slowly and naturally. Tang Lin did not hide his soul power, but also lowered his head to prevent them from seeing through his age. In this way, they will think that Tang Lin is just an ordinary Soul King, and then they will lower their guard against him. The 2 walked opposite each other, getting closer and closer. Just as Tang Lin had guessed, he and the people around him were not too wary of him. Just when the 2 of them were about to pass each other, a powerful killing intent erupted from Tang Lin. PFFT. In just a split second, a dagger slashed across Mukashin's neck from the side. Tang Lin moved extremely fast, like a killer who had been trained for many years, cold and professional. Mukashin woke up instantly, and widened his eyes. At the same time, he held his neck tightly with both hands, with an extremely painful expression on his face. He wanted to speak but couldn't. PFFT. Suddenly, blood splattered. At this time, several strong men next to him reacted and released their martial souls and soul rings at the same time. The restaurant was instantly enveloped by a powerful aura. However, at this moment, Tang Lin disappeared in front of them like a ghost. Who is it? A roar came out, and 2 powerful titled Douluo men appeared in the sky above the restaurant, both coming from the Wuhan Hall. They never expected that someone would dare to assassinate the master of the Wuhan Hall at the door of the Wuhan Hall. This is undoubtedly a huge shame for their Wuhan Palace, just like being slapped hard. However, the 2 of them scanned it carefully over and over again, but found nothing, which made them even more angry. Everyone in the restaurant, stand still and don't move. Anyone who disobeys will die. The calm, majestic, and undeniable voice suddenly spread throughout the restaurant. At this moment, Mukashin's rescue efforts had failed, and his eyes are full of confusion and unwillingness. Search for me. That person must still be in this restaurant, and has not left. More and more Wuhan Palace experts began to fly around the restaurant, and a titled Douluo expert immediately gave the order directly. Chapter 160. Phantom Tank. The fact is that as this titled Douluo said, Tang Lin was indeed still in the restaurant, and did not escape. The titled Douluo was so fast that Tang Lin had no time to escape, and most importantly, there was no need for him to escape right away. After noticing the movement here, more and more powerful people rushed to the restaurant. There were many Soul Emperors, Soul Saints, and even Soul Douluo everywhere. There were even 3 titled Douluo. Ding. successfully licking the box. Congratulations to the host for getting a Soul Emperor level soul crystal. Ring beans. However, when they were trying their best to find Tang Lin, they didn't know that Tang Lin was right next to Mukashin's body, licking the box comfortably while watching them. Another piece of soul crystal. Not bad, not bad. Although not as good as the 2 Soul Saint level soul crystals just given to Uncle Tang Zio and the second elder for training, it is still good. With this soul crystal, the shiny golden armor is fully utilized, and I can do other things I want to do. I didn't expect it to be so smooth. Everything is going according to my plan. As early as after Death Island absorbed the 30-year-old boulder black turtle trunk bone, Tang Lin obtained 2 powerful skills brought by this trunk bone. Therefore, at the moment after killing Mukashin, Tang Lin immediately used one of the 2 major skills of this torso bone, Phantom Tank. It was also because of this skill that Tang Lin had the absolute confidence to kill Mukashin and escape unscathed. Even though he did not have a title Douluo experience card, Phantom Tank can directly hide Tang Lin invisibly, making it difficult for even a level 99 ultimate Douluo to detect, and it will become invincible during use. However, it is not a perfect skill. While using it, the user will stay in place. You can't move at all, and once you take action, you will be exposed. Starter Tang Lin still remembered that, even if the giant stone turtle was seriously injured, when it was hiding itself, not even Tang Heo could detect its specific existence, and the black turtle was near Tang Heo at that time. Therefore, Tang Lin was not surprised at all to obtain this skill. Instead, he felt that it should be like this. Sir Elder, my subordinates are incompetent. No trace of the enemy has been found yet. Please punish me, Elder. Sir Elder, we are also here. Master Elder. There were so many strong men, even 3 titled Douluo appeared, and they searched together for a long time, but in the end, no trace of the enemy was found. The man who assassinated Mukashin seemed to have disappeared from the world. The 3 titled Douluo suppressed their anger forcibly, and even they themselves could not detect the existence of this person, let alone these powerful Soul Emperors and Soul Saints. It really pisses me off. They were not angry because Mukashin was killed. In their eyes, they didn't care whether Mukashin lived or died. What they were angry about was that Mukashin, as the master of the Wuhan Palace, actually showed up in front of the Wuhan Palace, were killed under their noses. This is a provocation to them, and even more so to Wuhan Palace. So, they were furious. Keep searching for me. Even if you dig 3 feet into the ground and trample this restaurant to the ground, you still have to find him. The majesty of Wuhan Palace cannot be violated, shouted an elder. He was not only telling everyone, the order was also given to Tang Lin. However, Tang Lin didn't care at all. At this time, not only was a titled Douluo standing 10 meters away from him, but he did not panic at all, because this skill of his was something that even Tang Heo could not break when he returned to his peak state. This was one of the reasons why Tang Heo was so relieved to let Tang Lin come out alone. There was a lot of movement here. Gradually, more powerful soul masters discovered the situation here. Until dawn the next day, no one from Wuhan Palace found Tang Lin. The master of Wuhan Palace, Mukashin, was assassinated, and the murderer is still at large despite the joint efforts of titled Douluo and a group of Wuhan Palace experts to track down the murderer. This news spread instantly among the Soul Master circles in Blood Moon City. Tang Zio and the second elder, who were still worried about Tang Lin, finally felt relieved after learning the news. This kid actually did it, and even the titled Douluo couldn't find him. It's really extraordinary, and it made us worry blindly. Tang Zio and the second elder immediately shook their heads and sighed. Of course, they were filled with indescribable joy. Tang Lin slept peacefully on the spot. When he woke up, he found that the 3 titled Douluo were no longer in the restaurant. He immediately took out the black turtle hide mask, put it on, and left the restaurant quietly. Mukashin was not a good person to begin with. He bullied the weak in Blood Moon City, and his methods could be described as vigorous and resolute. And he treated his father like this. After killing him, Tang Lin felt much better, and even the morning air became fresher. However, things are not over yet. Ming Magic Sect. As a minion of Wuhan Palace, Ming Mo Sword Sect has done countless unscrupulous things for Wuhan Palace, such as the massacre of Wang Xiaoshu's family. The same goes for the sect leader Ni Yuan. For the sake of Wuhan Palace, he cut off one of his father's arms and captured him and sent him to Wuhan Palace. Without him, where would all this come from? However, Tang Lin still doesn't know Ni Yuan's whereabouts because Tang Zhao and the second elder don't take him seriously, so there is no need to inquire about him. A monk who can run away cannot run away from the temple. Let's go to the Mingmo sword sect first. This Mingmo sword sect is obviously a sword of Wuhan Palace. It's time to destroy it. After leaving Blood Moon City, with a thought, Tang Lin immediately put on the shiny golden armor on his body. There was a groove on the chest for placing soul crystals. Tang Lin immediately put the soul crystal he got from killing Mukashin. As soon as I entered, I felt full of energy. With a leap of his feet, Tang Lin shot into the air. At the same time, a pair of flame-like wings stretched out from behind the golden armor. With only a slight vibration, Tang Lin's entire body turned into a stream of fiery red light and disappeared into the air. The target is only the Ming Demon Sword Sect. Mingmo Sword Sect. Located in the southeast of the Star Luo Empire, it is relatively close to the central force of Wuhan Palace, so it is only 3 to 5 days away from Blood Moon City. And with Tang Lin's speed, which is comparable to that of a super title Douluo, it probably only takes you can arrive in less than 2 hours. At this time, almost everyone in the Mingmo Sword Sect was in a state of joy and excitement, because the sect leader had made another contribution to the Wuhan Palace, and the rewards from the Wuhan Palace had just been distributed, so everyone was naturally overjoyed, but they did not know that a huge danger is approaching them at an extremely fast speed. Chapter 161. Arrive at the Ming Demon Sword Sect. In the main hall of the Mingmo Sword Sect, almost all the senior officials gathered together. The 3 elders of the Soul Saint level were sitting on the main seats. Below whether the sect master and several elders have been so busy that they have no time to come back to the sect to celebrate with us. It is indeed a pity, but it also shows that our Mingmo Sword Sect is now more and more important to the Wuhan Palace. It feels like our Ming Demon Sword Sect is not far away from the 7 major sects. The third elder sat at the main seat and spoke impassionately, and then there was a chorus of agreement from below. That's right. Think about how many years our Ming Demon Sword Sect has been suppressed by the 7 major sects. Now, under the leadership of the sect master and the elders, we finally see hope. When the day comes, when the Wuhan Palace destroys Haoshan's dual Douluo sect, then the Haoshan sect will also be destroyed. The Ming Demon Sword Sect, have been recharging our strength and hiding in secret for so many years. Sooner or later, we will become our Douluo, one of the 7 major sects on the road. Yes, that's right. Among the 7 major sects in the future, Mingmo Sword Sect, will definitely have a seat. In the main hall, there were all direct senior officials of the Mingmo Sword Sect, so naturally they spoke unscrupulously suddenly. Boom. Just as they were cheering for this, a huge roar came from outside the hall. At this moment, the extremely wide stone steps at the entrance of the hall have been smashed into pieces. A huge sinkhole immediately appeared, and thick dust and smoke suddenly rose around it. Tang Lin finally arrived at the Ming Demon Sword Sect. At the same time, a joking voice came out of his mouth and reached everyone's ears. Humph, you still want to be promoted to the 7 major sects? It's a pity that your Ming Demon Sword Sect has done many evil things over the years, and you have actually offended me on your head, so I'm afraid your wish will never be realized. Who? Immediately, a group of strong men in the inner core of the hall and outside the main hall immediately fired their martial spirits and faced Tang Lin in the thick dust and smoke, showing deep fear and vigilance. Who is your excellency? Don't you know that behind our Ming Demon Sword Sect is the Wuhan Palace? How dare you break into our Ming Demon Sword Sect so blatantly? Do you think you have lived too long? The deep voice of the 3 elders in the palace said came. His eyes narrowed slightly, very unhappy. Third brother, why are you talking nonsense to him? No matter who he is, he dares to bully me like this, Ming Demon Sword Sect, and see if I don't cut him into pieces. The 4th elder was impatient and jumped out immediately. Knowing that the sect was backed by Wuhan Palace, he was usually very arrogant and domineering. At this moment, in his opinion, this Tang Lin might be an escapee from a certain family force that the sect master and elders led to destroy. Therefore, without saying a word, he immediately released his martial soul, moved the soul ring under his feet, and swung the dark demon sword in his hand to kill Tang Lin instantly. He wants the visitors to pay the price of blood and let them understand that his Ming demon sword sect is as powerful as the clouds, not much worse than the 7 major sects. The majesty of the sect cannot be violated by just anyone. The third elder is far smarter than the fourth elder. Since Tang Lin dares to come alone to say that, it means that Tang Lin's strength cannot be underestimated. The safest way now is to stabilize the person who comes and try to support him as much as possible. The sect leader and his party are here. In his opinion, Tang Lin should also be the remnant of a certain family force that the sect master and the others went to destroy this time. So he immediately wanted to catch this reckless brother, but found that it was already too late. Before the fourth elder finished speaking, Renjiu had already rushed over. Although Tang Lin was still in the dust and smoke, he could clearly feel the fourth elder's blade. The blade is okay, but for me, it's still not enough. The third black soul ring on the sole of Tang Lin's foot flashed, and he also used a slash to attack, the skill of the 10,000 year soul ring, the GD and King slash. PFFT. Everyone only heard a killing sound, and then the scene instantly became quiet. Because the thick dust and smoke still did not disperse, no one could see clearly what was going on inside. The fourth elder's sword was so overbearing, he should have killed the person with one sword. Ha ha ha. With the strength of the fourth elder, it shouldn't be difficult to kill this person with one sword. HMPH, you deserve it. This person still thinks that my Mingemo sword sect is some small sect that is easy to bully. The fourth elder is a strong man at the soul saint level. Many strong men in the hall began to cheer and discuss. However, only the 2 elders sitting in the main seat showed disbelief, because they knew that the person who was killed with a knife was none other than their brother, the fourth elder. They never imagined that the fourth elder's sudden attack could be easily dodged by the attacker. At the same time, the attacker could take advantage of the opportunity to counterattack and cut off the fourth elder's neck. At this moment, those people in the hall who didn't know what was going on were still talking and laughing. Shut up. The third elder immediately shouted angrily. Only then did everyone wake up. They found that the 2 elders looked very strange. What was going on? Could it be that we made a mistake? Impossible. As powerful as the 4 elders. Before they could figure it out, a figure with golden light appeared at the entrance of the hall. Taking a closer look, it was the fourth elder lying on the ground, with a large pool of blood around him. Hiss, how is this possible? The fourth elder was killed with one blow? Exclamation mark. At this moment, almost everyone was confused. Then, when he took a closer look at Tang Lin, who was wearing golden armor, he turned out to be a teenager who looked like a teenager. This simply overturned their understanding of the world. For a moment, everyone in the palace moved closer to the 2 elders. The guards and others in the palace could not see Tang Lin's appearance, but they also knew how terrifying Tang Lin was. Unintuitively, they all retreated. Some people even had weak soles of their feet and fell to the ground immediately. Don't even think about the positions of the 7 major sects in the Douluo continent. Also, you won't have the chance to know whether the Haoshan sect will be destroyed by the spirit hall. Tang Lin stepped over the 4 elders' corpse, stepped into the main hall, because the Mingemo sword sect will be destroyed today. Boom. Although Tang Lin just took a step forward slowly, everyone felt that Tang Lin's foot stepped on their hearts. After hearing these words, everyone's hearts trembled. Your Excellency, it is better to dissolve enemies than to make enemies. No matter where or how our Ming demon sword sect has offended you, none of us here know about it, but I'm still here to represent the Ming demon sword sect and apologize to you first. The third elder looked solemn and stood up first to express his stance. He was already wondering in his heart at this moment, what kind of person did the sect master provoke when he went out this time? But now is not the time to think about this. The most important thing now is to stabilize Tang Lin first. As long as he drags him until the sect leader and his party come back, everything will be fine. And he is also a sensible person. Since this person will come here, he will definitely not be afraid of Guo considering Wuhan Hall. So at this moment, he can no longer move out of Wuhan Hall, which will only further anger the person in front of him. That's why he put on an attitude of sincere apology. You don't have to spend so much time. How could Tang Lin not see what this old Jianghu was thinking? Forget it. Since you are going to die, let me let you die clearly. You should all still remember the name Tang Feng, right? Tang Lin looked at everyone with a joking face. They were celebrating just now, and they had to step on their father's head to get it. So how could they not remember their father's name? When they heard Tang Lin say the word Tang Feng, everyone's eyes suddenly widened, and they finally understood. However, the expressions of the two elders became even more ugly, because when Tang Lin said the name Tang Feng, he had already given away too much information. The most fatal thing was that Tang Lin might have deliberately broken in to take revenge, while the sect leader and a group of powerful men were out. That means that there should be no backup on his side. About 2 months ago, your sect master led a group of strong men to chase him, and later cut off one of his arms, and handed it over to the Wuhan palace. Tang Lin said at this moment. He looked at everyone coldly. Never mind. Since you came with the purpose of destroying my Ming Demon Sword sect, we don't need to say more, because no matter how much we apologize, you will be indifferent and attack us. The third elder instantly became majestic at this moment, and he stepped across, stepping forward. He came to the front of the crowd. At the same time, the silent fifth elder appeared beside him in an instant. The people in the hall were all powerful men who were directly related to the higher-ups. At this moment, they all gathered together with serious expressions on their faces, showing off their martial spirits and soul rings, and followed behind the two elders. You are a sensible person. Tang Lin nodded. Tang Lin never expected that the third elder of the Ming Mo Sword sect could be regarded as a person who could bend and stretch. Moreover, these people in the palace should be higher level people. They were very cohesive. They knew when to shut up and so on without the elders having to say much. It's time to get serious. It does look a bit like the 7 major sects. Tang Lin nodded generously. Although you are very powerful, I can also see that your soul power is only equal to mine, and you are only one person, while we have 2 soul saints here alone, not to mention many powerful ones. The third elder was not in a hurry to take action. Since the battle between Tang Lin and his fourth brother just now was too short, and both of them were in thick dust and smoke at that time, he even lost Tang Lin's martial spirit and spirit ring. He didn't even see it, let alone Tang Lin's strength, so at this moment, he tried to say, so I want to know, where did you get the courage and confidence to single-handedly destroy our Ming Mo Sword sect? Elder, first of all, I want to tell you that you may have made a few mistakes. Tang Lin was also not in a hurry, because his target was the sect leader Yuan. However, it was obvious that he was not in the sect at the moment, so he also hoped that more delay for some time, and those people outside will quickly pass the news to their sect master. Chapter 162. Incarnate as a demon, the brutal Ming Demon Sword sect. Oh, what did I do wrong? The third elder couldn't help but sneered and asked. First of all, I think you may not have seen clearly that my soul power is more than level 75. Tang Lin also smiled back, and at the same time, his soul power surged instantly. Level 76 soul power fluctuation spread instantly. Level 75 soul power is a basic soul power level that can be achieved when using the Soul Saint experience card. Of course, this soul power can be continuously increased to level 80, but this will greatly shorten the use time of the experience card. The original use time of 1 hour is 2 hours. After adding 1 level of soul power, the use time may be shortened by half an hour in an instant. At this moment, the third elder finally showed a look of deep fear. When he reached the Soul Saint level, every level of soul power difference was a huge gap. The fifth elder, who had been expressionless next to him, finally frowned slightly. They never expected that Tang Lin could hide his soul power so deeply. Secondly, strength depends not only on the amount of soul power, but the quality of soul power is equally important, not to mention martial arts, soul rings, soul skills and other factors. Also, in the face of true and absolute strength, no matter how many people there are, it is of no use. At last, having said this, a strange smile appeared on the corner of Tang Lin's mouth, and at the same time, a pan suddenly appeared in his hand. From top to bottom, his body was covered with 5 soul rings. Purple, black, 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 black. The dazzling light flashed slowly and gradually sank toward the feet. Purple, black, 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 black. Such a terrifying soul ring configuration made everyone in the hall stunned when they saw it. There is such a soul ring configuration in this world. Is this still human? When everyone's minds were blank, the two Soul Saint elders who were the first to react were even more surprised to find that Tang Lin actually only had 5 soul rings. But how could his soul power reach more than 70 Soul Saint levels? Degree! Exclamation mark. In an instant, their 3 views collapsed, and their understanding of the world was completely refreshed by Tang Lin. Don't you want to know where I got the confidence to destroy your Ming Mo sword sect by myself? Tang Lin was already in a fighting position. Then next, you have to widen your eyes and watch carefully. Clear. As soon as he finished speaking, only a shadow of golden light was left where Tang Lin had been, and Tang Lin instantly disappeared from everyone's eyes. At this moment, everyone was ready for battle and extremely vigilant, especially the 2 Soul Saint level elders, who widened their eyes, trying to catch Tang Lin's figure. However, Tang Lin's golden armor was as fast as a super titled Douluo. How could a mere soul sage be able to capture it at will? Several sounds of fighting were heard in the hall. The several soul sects standing at the back of the 2 elders exploded instantly, and then it was the turn of the next level of Soul King level powerhouses. The people in this hall are all the high level experts in the sect and the future geniuses of the sect. Therefore, there are only a few people at the Soul Sect level, but the number of people at the Soul King level is the largest, as many as 20 people. Tang Lin's goal is simple and clear, which is to start with the weakest Soul Sect. Be careful. The 3rd elder felt something was wrong and immediately shouted. He never expected that Tang Lin would not take the lead in attacking him, but instead attack those who were the backbone of the sect. These figures were the future of the sect. At this moment, he realized that his reminder was already too late. His eyes were splitting, and he immediately charged towards Tang Lin to kill him. However, he sadly discovered that Tang Lin ignored him at all, and he and his 5th brother couldn't catch up with Tang Lin's speed. They didn't know who Tang Lin's next target would be, so they couldn't catch up with Tang Lin's speed. Not knowing who to protect, he could only chase around the hall, but in the end he could only watch helplessly as each pillar was beheaded by Tang Lin in a daze. Although Tang Lin's speed here wasn't really at the level of a titled Douluo, how could the 2 Soul Saints be able to catch up? What? Boy, I'm going to tear you into pieces. Although he cursed with great anger, he knew very well that he could only live with his words, because with Tang Lin's terrifying speed, it was easy to kill them. Even if the sect leader came, he would be the same. You can escape easily. At this moment, he realized that he had no strength, but had no way to exert his powerlessness. At this moment, he realized that Tang Lin could really destroy their Dark Demon Sword sect with his own power. I saw a golden light raging in the hall, and as a result, people kept falling down, and they didn't even have time to scream. In just a few moments, Tang Lin completely killed all the Soul Sects and Soul Kings in the hall. Until now, there were only 2 Soul Saint elders and 6 Soul Emperor level executives left on the field. And after Tang Lin killed the last Soul King, the golden figure slowly appeared at the entrance of the hall again. Everything happened so fast that several Soul Emperors are still in a trance middle. However, when they reacted, they found that all around them in the hall were the corpses and blood of their clansmen. One Soul Emperor's feet suddenly became weak. Otherwise, even if the Soul Emperor next to him was holding him up, he might have collapsed to the ground just now. // Your Excellency, take advantage of the fact that our sect master and other powerful men are not in the sect. How can you be considered a hero? A Soul Emperor said shamelessly. Tang Lin was a little stunned. This man was so naive. He was probably out of his mind. What was the point of saying these words at this time? Hero? Good guy? How can you tell that I have anything to do with being a hero? Tang Lin couldn't help but shook his head and said speechlessly, I'm just a handsome ignorant little kid. He's not the hero you mentioned. You. The Soul Emperor wanted to speak out, but was stopped by the 3rd elder at this moment. Even though he is already a strong man at the Soul Saint level, he still cannot hide the sadness in his heart. I thought you were a person, but I didn't expect that you are also a murderous demon. You can take action against us 2 old men, or even powerful Soul Emperors like them, but why are you so cruel and choose to pick on the weak? Will the younger generation take action? As the 3rd elder of the sect, he cares about the sect very much. Now Tang Lin has killed all the sect's future, including his youngest son, but he knows that now is not the time to be sad. I also want to give the sect the final acupuncture. Anyway, none of you can escape today. You are all going to die, but it is not you who has the final say who dies first and who dies last, but I have the final say. Of course, I chose to kill them first, not because they were weak, but because with their current strength and age, they must have done less evil than you old fools, so I mercifully let them do this. If you die easily, you should thank me. As for you, you will lose your lives amidst high tension and fear. Then guess, who will be the next lucky person chosen by me? Devil, you are the devil. The terrifying atmosphere created by Tang Lin immediately frightened the Soul Emperor who had almost collapsed just now. He pointed at Tang Lin and shouted in great panic, "Your mightiness." Just when Tang Lin was about to take action, the third elder called out again and said, "Your Excellency, if you have anything to say, the ones who attacked Brother Tang Feng were our sect master and other elders who were away from home. They have nothing to do with us in this hall now, so why do you need to kill us all? Wouldn't your conscience be disturbed by killing so many of our innocently implicated people?" Innocent? Conscience? Hearing this, Tang Lin couldn't help but want to laugh. About this question, I can answer you seriously. No. Tang Lin shook his head seriously and replied. Do you know why? In fact, what he just said was right. I'm a devil now. I feel that there is a devil hidden deep in each of us. Unfortunately, after learning about the inhuman things that Yoming Demon Sword sect has done, after what happened, the devil deep inside me finally couldn't help but come out. Think about it for yourselves. How many of these things have each of you here, and your entire Mingemo Sword sect, done to exterminate families and genocide? You have been stained with the blood of too many innocent people. You have already been evil. How can you say that you are innocent? If I kill you now, even if I'm not doing justice for heaven, at least I can tell you clearly that my conscience will not hurt. Hearing this, everyone immediately knew that Tang Lin would never let them go no matter what. For a moment, they actually regretted the evil they had done. The third elder could no longer find any reason for Tang Lin to let them go. He shook his head for a moment, sighed, and slowly closed his eyes, but after taking a deep breath, when he opened his eyes again, his entire breath state had changed. At this moment, his momentum was unprecedentedly powerful, and he looked extremely determined. He was obviously ready to die in battle. The fifth elder next to him had an even deeper gaze, and the dark demon sword began to glow with black energy. The third elder stared closely at Tang Lin, and was ready to launch an attack. At the same time, he began to transmit a message to everyone present. Tang Lin could naturally tell that he was transmitting a message. Although he could not hear it, he could guess it. It's just to let them seize the opportunity to escape separately when he takes action, and then send a message to the sect leader or Wuhan Palace. Of course, he didn't care at all. He didn't pay attention to those who were particularly good at speed, even those who were particularly good at speed. What's more, these people here, no matter what plans they had, in the face of his absolute strength, these plans would turn into nothing. Bubble. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163. The Mingemo Sword Sect is wiped out. Go. Suddenly, the third elder shouted loudly, and he and the fifth elder flew towards Tang Lin. I saw the soul rings on the soles of their feet flashing continuously, and the Wuhan demonic blade was instantly attached with black flames, killing Tang Lin. The remaining 6 soul emperors were not idle, and they all used their best strength. Come with a powerful sword and kill. Suddenly, 8 people slashed at Tang Lin from different directions. The third elder's mouth suddenly raised. This move was almost a full blow from the 8 of them. Under this situation, it was impossible for Tang Lin to withstand everyone's attack, and this was their chance. It is not a chance to kill Tang Lin, but also a chance for someone to escape. As long as someone can escape, the remaining people will naturally entangle Tang Lin until that person escapes safely, and tell the story about Tang Lin. Spread the word together. Because even the guards, or affiliated forces outside the hall only know how powerful Tang Lin is. You don't know Tang Lin's specific situation. As long as the plan succeeds, even if they die, Tang Lin will be killed by the sect leader or martial spirit next. The people in the palace were obliterated. Facing 8 people slashing at him with swords from 8 directions, Tang Lin did not panic at all and continued to observe them. However, judging from the direction from which the 8 people were attacking, he seemed to have roughly guessed something. Only then did he start to move. The first soul skill, throwing the blame. With golden light blooming from his body, Tang Lin jumped into the air, waved his hand, and threw 8 pans in the direction of the 8 people almost instantly. Although it is a 1000-year soul ring skill, it cannot be underestimated. When they resisted or dodged, the intensity of their attack on Tang Lin had actually begun to change, and it was no longer as powerful as it was at the beginning. The 5th soul skill, red flame burning heaven embedded. At this time, after achieving his goal, Tang Lin grinned, ignored everyone's attacks, and suddenly turned around and attacked the 5th elder in front of him. Oh. Tang Lin's speed was extremely fast. Although everyone made the first move, they were still not as fast as Tang Lin, who made the last move. New Oda's frying pan was directly mounted on the 5th elder's Ming demon knife, and then Tang Lin exerted his strength. He directly knocked the 5th elder out of the hole with his sword and others. The 5th elder was immediately injured. At the same time, he was also surprised by Tang Lin's unparalleled and powerful soul skill. You must know that, if the force were stronger, he would be seriously injured at this moment. Did he let it slip on purpose? This thought was immediately extinguished by him. How can that be? When he was knocked into the air, everyone's attacks on Tang Lin also came as expected. Boom. 7 beheading attacks landed on Tang Lin's golden armor, which suddenly made several bursting sounds, like thunder in the sky. However, Tang Lin only took a few steps back at this moment. Although the 3rd elder is very aggressive, the defensive power of the golden armor is stronger, and with some blessings from the trunk bones, the 7 of them cannot shake Tang Lin at all. At this moment, Tang Lin was still staring at the 5th elder who was sent flying by him. During the whole process, he did not even look back at them. Of course, the 5th elder could not see this scene, because he had been photographed by Tang Lin's pan into the hills in the distance. However, when he came back to his senses, he realized that he was already some distance away from the sect. Without any hesitation, he turned around and left run. Tang Lin is really terrifying, comparable to a strongman in Contrap. This must be known to the sect master. Tang Lin finally turned around, and he found that the expressions on everyone's faces were extremely varied. Some were surprised, some were regretful, some were despairing, and of course, some were ferocious, such as the 3rd elder who was prepared to die in battle. Tang Lin also discovered that there was an unlucky soul emperor lying on the ground dripping with blood. This is because he just used the pan's 2nd soul skill, Juju. Today's 2nd soul skill has become a 10,000-year soul ring skill, and its counter shock damage has also increased to a terrifying level. If the previous soul saint of the same level attacked his chrysanthemum, maybe that soul saint would. If you are not careful, you will at most be seriously injured, and if you reach the soul emperor level, there is nothing you can do, unless you are a defensive soul master. But obviously the people of the Ming Demon Sword sect have very weak defenses, and almost all of them are fragile. Skin. It's all death anyway. Do you all want to die in such a miserable way? Come on, at least our plan is successful. The 5th elder has escaped. What we have to do next is to try to buy the 5th elder as much time as possible to escape. Seeing that everyone looked dazed and desperate, the 3rd elder immediately shouted in the hearts of everyone. After hearing this, everyone began to gradually recover. Yes, it was too powerful in front of them. Even if they stood there and let everyone attack, they couldn't kill him, and they would even be killed by the counterattack. So no matter what, I'm afraid he will inevitably die, so the only thing he can do is to delay Tang Lin as much as possible to buy the 5th elder more time to escape. At this time, everyone's fighting spirit rose again. Tang Lin felt a little emotional when he saw this scene. He had to say that this 3rd elder was indeed a figure, and these strong men were quite good. Until now, there was no one who would beg for mercy next time. Originally, I wanted them to die in fear and regret, but now it seems that it is no longer necessary. The result is death anyway, so why torture them in such a perverted way? At this time, Tang Lin closed his eyes and took a deep breath. When he opened his eyes again, his face showed the only seriousness he had ever seen before. At this time, he no longer cares what kind of person this third elder is, but he already regards him as an opponent. Several people roared at the same time and rushed towards Tang Lin. Tang Lin waved the pan, extremely calm and cold-blooded. PFFT. A Soul Emperor fell. At the same time, the third elder's Ming demon sword was slashed down directly. Tang Lin did not use his armor, but directly raised the pan and blasted it at him. Oh. The huge energy knocked away several Soul Emperors around him. The two Soul Emperors were unwilling to give in and stared at Tang Lin fiercely, as if they wanted to suck his blood and eat his flesh. When they saw Tang Lin and the third elder confronting each other in the air, they looked at each other fiercely. Nodding, he raised his sword and rushed over. When the other three Soul Emperors saw this situation, they didn't know that this was an opportunity. They immediately rushed over together, like they were desperately trying. Tang Lin used his strength to knock the third elder away and used the fourth soul skill of the pan to suppress the 5 people in an instant. He figured out the timing, ran the circle for 18 beats, and flew directly towards the third elder. Boom. Although the third elder was caught off guard, he still used the Ming demon sword to block most of the force, but just when she thought she had escaped the attack, she didn't expect that when she opened her eyes, a huge pan was already in front of her. At this moment, he no longer had time to resist, because he never thought that these 18 shots could be connected together. Boom. Almost instantly, he was hit by the pan again, and was directly embedded into the stone slab of the main hall. However, until this moment, Tang Lin's attacks were still continuing. Boom. 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 The 5 Soul Emperors who were already stunned beside them heard this banging sound, as if every attack hit their hearts hard. 3 elders. They shouted, but the cruel reality was that the third elder never stood up again in the end. Anyone who commits injustice will be punished by his own death. Tang Lin looked at his body coldly, then turned his head. Next, it's your turn. Far away. I really can't run anymore. Anyway, the message has been sent to the sect leader through the carrier pigeon, so let's take a rest first. The 5th elder has been running continuously for half a day. He has already suffered a lot of injuries, so at this moment, he no longer has the extra strength to escape. However, just when he stopped and sat down, a familiar voice sounded in his ears. Oh, has the summons been passed? He looked up and found that Tang Lin had appeared in the sky at some point, staring at him coldly. He never expected that the armor on Tang Lin's body could actually create a pair of wings, allowing Tang Lin to fly in the air. In this way, even if he was several times faster, he might not be able to escape from Tang Lin's grasp in the end. Exclamation mark. What did you do to Ren of the Ming Sword Sect? The 5th elder asked coldly. At this time, he had given up resistance, because he no longer had the ability to resist Tang Lin. He just wanted to know, Ming what happened to Dao Zhang? Since I'm here, do you still need to ask about the situation of your Ming Demon Sword Sect? Of course, it's the Ming sect. Tang Lin responded coldly, emphasizing the word Mi sect. It used to be Yu Ming sect. The Demon Sword sect exterminated others, and now this can be regarded as reincarnation in the way of heaven. No. Why? This is impossible. I don't believe it. Despite the cold and ruthless appearance of the 5th elder, in fact, his feelings and sense of belonging to the sect have never been lower than anyone else, even the strongest one among the elders. So when he heard that the sect was being after the family was wiped out, he seemed to have collapsed and suddenly became crazy. Tang Lin shook his head helplessly and sighed. He had never expected that people in Douluo continent would have such a sense of belonging and affection for their sect, but Tang Lin will not be soft-hearted. He will never show mercy to such a sect who does many evil things. How could 5th elder Ru still have the ability and will to resist Tang Lin? Tang Lin just waved his hand easily and dealt with him directly, and then brought his body back to the Ming Sword sect. Since he was so sentimental, he should just let his soul return to his hometown. And as a family, of course we have to be neat and tidy. At this moment, he can finally lick the bag comfortably. Chapter 164. I have been waiting for you for a long time. The other side of the Star Luo Empire. Sect Master, a letter from the sect. A messenger pigeon flew onto the arm of the Great Elder. The Great Elder took off the letter and handed it to the sect leader Niyuan. How could the sect send us a message at this time? Could something have happened? Niyuan said after taking the letter. Because he always felt uncomfortable today and couldn't think of the reason why he came here. When he heard the letter from the sect, he frowned for no reason really. When he saw the message specially given to him by the 5th Elder, his expression immediately changed. A powerful aura burst out, and a raging anger was already igniting in his heart. Is he from the Haoshan sect? But the letter also said that the person who came was just a boy in his teens, who was wearing a golden battle armor. How dare a mere boy to break into arming Mo sect like this? The Great Elder next to him immediately took the letter over and looked at it and immediately frowned. I'm afraid things are not that simple. No wonder I always feel uneasy today. The letter said that this young man came because of Tang Feng. He is probably from the Haoshan sect. Maybe he is not the only one. Otherwise, how could it happen? Can't even deal with the two soul saints? Niyuan's eyes were full of killing intent. He never expected that in a few days it would be time to execute Tang Feng, but at this juncture, something would happen to the sect. Then what do we do now? Someone asked. Here comes. Immediately send a message to Wuhan Palace, saying that people from Haoshan sect have appeared in arming Mo sword sect, and ask them to send some people over quickly. Niyuan thought for a while, and immediately made arrangements, saying, others, hurry back to the sect with me. I want to see who it is that dares to go against Wuhan Palace and break into my Mo sword sect. Yes. The crowd answered in unison. When his subordinates sent the message to Wuhan Hall, Niyuan had already taken the sect's 1st Elder, 2nd Elder, and the other 6 powerful Soul Emperors, a total of 9 people, and chose a shortcut to rush to the sect. Blood Moon City, Wuhan Palace. It's been so long, and you still don't know who the murderer is, or what he looks like. You don't even know how your palace master was killed. TSK, 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 tell me, what's the use of my Wuhan Palace raising you? Above the main hall, a man with a charming face asked coldly with a smile. And under the Grand Highness, there are rows of strong men from Wuhan Palace kneeling. They are the strong men who were closest to Mukashin at night. At this moment, they dare not say a word in front of this person, because this person is directly under his command. The special character of the Pope's Palace, the level 95 super titled Douluo, closed. Report. At this moment, a person ran outside the hall. What's up? Sect leader Ni sent a letter saying that someone from the Haoshan sect has appeared in their Mo sword sect. He has rushed over now and begged our spirit hall to send someone there. Oh. People from Haoshan sect are really here. Hearing this, Yu Guan suddenly smiled. If it is really people from the Haoshan sect who are here, then their goal must be to save people, not anything else. Next to Yu Guan, a titled Douluo level elder said, it's not time for execution yet. They can't find Tang Feng and can't save anyone. So nothing should happen here for the time being. I think we can ask an elder to go and check the situation. That's right. After all, the Mo sword sect can't ignore it. 9th Elder, I would like to trouble you to go to the Mo sword sect. Yu Guan smiled at the 9th Elder. Okay, then I'll take a trip. Yu Guan's status is special, and Yu Guan is in charge here now. So even though he is one of the elders of Wuhan Hall, he has to obey Yu Guan's orders at the same time. Niyuan spent a whole day and finally arrived at the sect, but at this time, he waved everyone to stop. Everyone hasn't rested all day, and we have consumed a lot at this moment. The sect is ahead. Let's take a moment rest and adjust before setting off to avoid any accidents later. Even though he was worried about the safety of the sect, he also knew that if he went directly without adjusting everyone's condition, unexpected results would probably occur. Of course, he also had his own plans in mind. He calculated the time and knew that Wuhan Palace should have received their summons at this moment and had sent people over, because as long as Wuhan Palace heard the words Haoshan sect, no matter what, whether it's true or not, they will send people here. And with Wuhan Palace's current attitude and emphasis on Haoshan sect, the 89 Inseparable 10 Society will send powerful men at the level of titled Douluo. Niyuan knows Wuhan Palace very well. He knew that, as long as he mentioned Haoshan sect, Wuhan Palace would pay special attention to it, and if it was as he guessed, with the speed of titled Douluo, it would only take a few people to get from Blood Moon City to Mingemo Sword Sect time, and they arrived at the sect almost exactly at this time. Even if the time deviates, it will not deviate too much. At that time, even if there were people from the Haoshan sect, he didn't have to worry, because as far as he knew of the Haoshan sect, currently only Tang Lin, the sect leader, had the strength of a titled Douluo. As the leader of the mighty Haoshan sect, Tang Lin, who had the strength of a titled Douluo, would naturally not put their Ming Demon Sword sect in the same position. In his eyes, he will not come in person. His goal is to be in Blood Moon City, not his Dark Demon Sword sect. Therefore, at most, he will only send a few contrasts to attack his Dark Demon Sword sect. And this is just the worst case scenario. Okay, everyone, get ready. We have to set off. I hope the 3 elders of the sect can hold on until we arrive. After a short rest, Ni Yuan finally stood up. Less than half an hour, a group of 9 of them finally arrived at their sect. However, at this moment, they all stared at the scene in front of them with their eyes wide open and their mouths open in disbelief. The entire sect was in dilapidated condition, with not a single living person left. Their expressions were extremely solemn, and their bodies gradually became trembling. They continued to walk forward, and saw that the bloodstains on the floor and stone steps were not even dry yet, and corpses were scattered everywhere. These were all the mainstays of the sect. Impossible. How could it be possible? Haoshan sect. It must be Haoshan sect. Why? Ni Yuan trembled, as if he remembered something, and then quickly ran towards the main hall. The first thing that caught the eye was the body of the 5th elder. Then there are the 3rd elder, the 4th elder, and all the senior leaders and genius elites of the sect. In other words, now there are only 9 of them left in the entire Mingemo Sword sect. There may be some people who have been away from home and haven't come back, but they probably don't dare to come back. What? Who is it? Who is it? Seeing the tragic situation of the sect, Ni Yuan immediately screamed, and the tyrannical sword energy on his body exploded instantly, causing the surrounding buildings and even the floor to crack. The remaining 8 people also burst out with strong killing intent, all clenched their fists and their eyes were red. It's me. I've been waiting for you for a long time. At this moment, a joking voice sounded in the hall. Chapter 165. The battle resumes. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Tang Lin's voice suddenly appeared in the hall, making Ni Yuan and the other 9 people immediately alert. They couldn't detect the presence of anyone nearby just now. Everyone searched around, but found that they could not find the person who spoke. Is this the current style of the Haoshan sect? If you have the ability, get out of here. Ni Yuan said with his eyes about to burst, holding the knife tightly in his hand. PFFT. At this moment, there was only a popping sound, and the head of a strong soul emperor who was searching for Tang Lin's location in the hall suddenly flew high, and his whole body took a step forward before falling down. Akan. A strong soul emperor next to him reacted first. His eyes widened, and he shouted in horror. When Ni Yuan heard the cry, he immediately turned his head and looked this way. For a moment, he felt sad and angry. Although he could no longer detect any trace of Tang Lin, at that moment, he had already felt the fluctuation of Tang Lin's soul power. He was only at the level of Soul King! Exclamation mark. How can this be? Exclamation mark. If he was really so powerful, how could he kill Akan in an instant under his nose? This person is definitely not as simple as he seemed just now. He couldn't help but think to himself. At the same time, he also shouted to the others, this person is extremely good at hiding and assassinating. Everyone, please don't scatter. All stand with me. Come behind me. The only thing he could think of was that Tang Lin, who was hiding in the dark, definitely had more than this strength, and most likely had a soul bone that allowed him to hide so deeply. At this moment, they in the main hall have become the prey of this sneak attack. After hearing the words of the sect leader, everyone gathered together and then slowly exited the hall step by step. Ni Yuan knew that the enemy was in darkness and we were in the clear. Only by retreating to a wide place outside could we make this person hiding in the dark show up, and he also wants to delay as much time as possible, preferably until the strong men from Wuhan Palace arrive. In fact, at this moment, Tang Lin was licking the box next to the body that had just fallen in the hall. After casting Phantom Tank, Tang Lin could not move or take action at will, otherwise it would be revealed. However, the Soul Emperor came directly in front of him just now. How could he hold back? He was here to do evil things, so he attacked instantly, and then quickly used the skill Phantom Tank, which made Niyuan and others. I only noticed that he couldn't find his location after a moment. After licking the box, he found that everyone had slowly left the main hall. Knowing that he would not offend anyone by squatting here, Tang Lin's figure suddenly appeared in the main hall. Niyuan immediately stopped and stared hard at Tang Lin, who suddenly appeared in front of him. The shock and anger in his heart at this moment could not be described in words. I saw Tang Lin wearing Xianai's golden armor, with a young and handsome face, obviously less than 15 years old. How is this possible? 8 people almost exclaimed in unison. Unexpectedly, their enemy who was hiding in the dark just now turned out to be such a young boy. What surprised them even more was that the aura emanating from a boy of such an age actually reached the Soul King level. Is this genius? Ivaldoa. Sect Master, the armor on his body is not simple, it is definitely a rare treasure. A Soul Emperor stared at the golden armor on Tang Lin's body, flashing with greedy light. Tang Lin never expected that this person would still be in such a mood. He was worthy of being a member of the Mingemo Sword Sect. Hurry up and stop your thoughts. This boy is definitely not that simple. The 5th elder said in his heart that he can defeat the 3rd elder and others, so don't be careless. Niyuan suddenly snorted coldly. No one thought it was too funny. At such an age, Tang Lin is already a monster among monsters. If he can reach the Soul King level, is it possible that he can still compete with several elders at the Soul Saint level of the sect? Impossible. With this thought in everyone's mind, they really didn't want to believe it, but one thing they were almost sure of was that it was just such a person who killed Akan, who was at the Soul Emperor level. Therefore, they did not underestimate Tang Lin too much. Sect Master, is it possible that he alone can kill every single one of our sect's powerful men in this hall? This is probably impossible, the Great Elder said calmly. / don't take it lightly, everyone. This person is definitely not as simple as he seems on the surface. Moreover, it is very likely that his powerful companions are hidden nearby. That's right. Otherwise, how could he dare to attack Arming Demon Sword Sect based on his Soul King strength alone? How could he kill all the powerful men in our sect here? He is deliberately trying to attract our attention to on his body. It will be easier for his companions to attack us. As soon as these words came out, everyone immediately began to be wary of their surroundings, fearing that there were strong men hiding around who would attack them, like they had just attacked Akan, and they would die tragically without any reason. You don't have to look, I'm the only one here. Tang Lin sneered, put his hands behind his hands, and said with a smile, to deal with your Mingemo Sword Sect, I alone can think highly of you. However, how could Niyuan and others believe Tang Lin's words? They were still wary of their surroundings. Even though Tang Lin only had Soul King level strength, they still did not attack Tang Lin easily. No matter what, if they could continue the stalemate like this, they would have achieved their goal. Moreover, if they could continue the stalemate until Wuhan, if people from the temple come, that is naturally the best, but Tang Lin also knew it is very likely that someone from Wuhan Palace will come, and there is a certain probability that it will be a title Douluo, and his current box power is not enough to reach the Eternal Diamond 10 consecutive draw, so he does not have a title Douluo experience card in his backpack and so, just in case, he had to get rid of Niyuan before the people from Wuhan Palace arrived. Seeing that everyone was indifferent to his words, Tang Lin shook his head and took a step forward. At the same time, the soul rings on his body, black, 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 a total of 5 black soul rings, followed his slow progress. One by one emerges. At this moment, Tang Lin no longer has a purple 1000-year soul ring on his body. With enough ring beans, all of his soul rings have been upgraded to 10,000-year level black soul rings. Seeing Tang Lin's abnormal 5,000-year soul ring, even Niyuan, a Contra level expert, was deeply shocked, let alone the others. Sect Master, am I dazzled? Yes, I seem to be dazzled too. I actually saw that all 5 of this kid's soul rings are black 10,000-year level soul rings. How is this possible? Everyone couldn't help but wipe their eyes quickly. I'm afraid you read it right. All of his soul rings are indeed 10,000-year soul rings. Ni Yuan replied bitterly. Ah. Sect Master, how is this possible? How can someone's first and second soul ring reach the 10,000-year level? Could it be that he has used some special soul confusing technique on us? Be careful. Just when everyone was still talking about each other, Ni Yuan suddenly shouted. Because he discovered that Tang Lin had already rushed towards them, and the aura on his body had instantly increased from the Soul King level to the Soul Emperor level, and it's still rising sharply. Soul Saint. Contrap. How can that be? His eyes suddenly shot up, and he couldn't believe what he saw. At this moment, he finally understood that what Tang Lin just said was that he was the only one here. I'm afraid it was not a word of confusion, but the truth. Exclamation mark. Moreover, at this moment, he also figured out why Tang Lin was able to wipe out all the masters of his sect by himself. Oh. Tang Lin's frying pan was directly placed on the head of the Soul Emperor who was closest to him. The Soul Emperor was instantly sent flying, and his head was hit hard on the faraway object with the 4 characters Ming Mo Sword Sect engraved on it. On top of the stone monument. PFFT. Immediately afterwards, a slash came out, and the 2 Soul Emperors who had not yet understood what was going on were instantly cut to death by Tang Lin's 10,000-year soul ring technique. Moment. These 3 powerful Soul Emperors had already died before they even understood what was going on. No. Seeing the clan members so close to him being brutally killed without him having time to rescue them, Ni Yuan suddenly let out a heart-rending roar. You hateful little beast, die. Although his reaction was half a beat slower, almost at the same time, the extremely domineering Ming Mo sword key appeared instantly and slashed towards Tang Lin. Tang Lin did not take action again. He also wanted to experience this level 87 attack type fighter. How powerful is Contra's attack? At that time, he blocked the pan in front of him. Oh. Suddenly, the pan was distorted by the bombardment, and Tang Lin was instantly knocked away from the entrance of the hall into the hall, and was almost blasted into the wall of the hall. There is indeed something. With his current level 85 soul power, it is indeed a bit difficult for Ni Yuan to fight against level 87 soul power. No wonder, the Ming Mo Sword Sect can firmly rank first among the 7 major sects, just by relying on his contrap. While Tang Lin was sighing with emotion, Ni Yuan's expression on the other side was extremely ugly. There were still 2 Soul Saints and 2 Soul Emperors left beside him. He was equally surprised. This kid didn't hide, but took the sword from the sect master forcefully. And in the end, nothing happened. What kind of martial spirit is he? His defense is so strong. This kid is really weird. Sect master, the only thing we can do now is drag him. Once the title Douluo dragged to the spirit hall arrives, he won't be able to escape, even if he has 3 heads and 6 arms. Ni Yuan nodded heavily. Of course he knew what they meant. From Tang Lin's action just now, it can be seen that Tang Lin's speed has surpassed him. If he goes up to fight Tang Lin now, the remaining people will be gone. With his protection, it is very likely that Tang Lin will take advantage of his speed and seize the opportunity to kill them one by one. Chapter 166. Death of Ni Yuan. Wuhan Palace has arrived. Your Excellency, judging from your martial arts, you are not from the Haotian sect. I don't know how our Ming Mo Sword Sect has offended you, making you so crazy and wanting to exterminate my sect. Ni Yuan said coldly. Frenzied? Tang Lin snorted coldly. Although he also knew that Ni Yuan was deliberately delaying time with him, Tang Lin smiled disdainfully. You think that the title Douluo from Wuhan Palace will be able to save you when he comes? Really? You are so naive. As for you saying that I'm crazy, haha, do you think that, even if you are allowed to wipe out other people's families and sects in this world, others cannot wipe out your sect? Who is the real crazy person? Our sect always obeys the orders of the Pope of Wuhan Palace, and most of the people we kill are those who harm the mainland. Could it be that you want to exterminate us just because you don't like our sect's way of doing things? Ni Yuan's second elder shouted. I really can't stand it. At this time, you don't need to bring up the Wuhan Palace, because in the face of real life and death, except for your own strength, your background and everything are just clouds. Tang Lin was not talking nonsense. The soul crystal on the chest of Xianai golden armor lit up, and his whole body suddenly flashed with bright golden light. In an instant, Tang Lin took action. After learning the first lesson, Ni Yuan and others had already been wary of Tang Lin, so when Tang Lin changed, they already knew that Tang Lin was going to take action again. The magic sword instantly slashed in the direction of Tang Lin. 5 huge, dark demon knives, as black as ink, carrying endless sword energy, flew in instantly. The surrounding space fluctuated, and the entire hall shook under the 2 powerful momentums. Boom. The huge collision sound suddenly resounded for several miles around. The entire sect hall was reduced to ruins, with dust and smoke rising everywhere. Starter Tang Lin grinned. This was what he wanted. At this time, everyone's vision and perception were greatly reduced in an instant, but he had the flying to the ground technique, which made him feel like a fish in water in this environment. Take advantage of the terrifying speed of the golden armor. Tang Lin started hunting in this huge burst of dust and smoke. Ah! Master, save me! A cry for help with boundless fear came from behind Ni Yuan. However, when he turned around, he only saw a golden shadow, and his own people had been killed and thrown directly at his feet. This Soul Emperor's eyes are still open. Don't rest your eyes. Sovereign. Save. However, before he had time to react, the next call for help rang in his ears again. Another Soul Emperor was hunted to death. He didn't even have time to finish saying save me. At this moment, only the sect leader Ni Yuan and 2 Soul Saint level elders were left on the field. The 3 of them stood back to back, constantly attacking the golden phantom flashing in front of them with the Ming demon sword in their hands. Ah! Little beast, I want you to die. The Soul Emperor who died just now was the son of the Great Elder. At this moment, he was so angry that he kept killing the phantoms. He was already crazy. Tang Lin made no move. After the dust settled and the surroundings became clear, Tang Lin stood on the ruins and looked coldly at the 3 of them, who were back to back and extremely panicked. Little beast, you killed my son, I want you to die. The moment he saw Tang Lin's figure, the Great Elder could no longer suppress the boundless anger in his heart and rushed straight towards Tang Lin without reason. The sect was wiped out, his son was beheaded in front of his eyes, and his enemy was right in front of him, so how could he hold back? But reality is reality. He jumped into the air and swung the knife downwards with all his strength. Tang Lin didn't even dodge or defend himself. He just looked at him coldly. When he was about to pay the price for his arrogance, Tang Lin subverted his knowledge. I saw the huge Ming demon sword slashing at Tang Lin's golden armor. Apart from shattering the gravel at the soles of Tang Lin's feet, it did not cause any damage. Tang Lin's eyes were still cold. When the elder suddenly realized, he stretched out a hand, grabbed his neck, and then pushed him hard to the ground. Boom. The Great Elder suddenly vomited blood. Tang Lin stood up and kicked him to Ni Yuan's feet. The whole process was very neat. They never thought that the armor Tang Lin was wearing had such strong defensive power. Don't you want to know why I want to destroy your Ming Emo sword sect? Tang Lin stared at the highly nervous Ni Yuan and said coldly, do you still remember that about 4 years ago, the Wang family in Yiking City was wiped out? Case. What? You? Are you? No, that's impossible. Ni Yuan thought of something immediately, and then immediately denied it. There was indeed a kid who escaped back then, but that kid's martial spirit was different from the martial spirit of the mysterious and strange man in front of him. The soul is completely different. I'm indeed not him, but he is my brother. This is one of the reasons why I destroyed your Ming Emo sword sect. Of course, the main reason is because of you, Ni Yuan, the sect leader. Because you attacked my father, not only chopped off one of his arms, but also gave the Wuhan palace he handed over to Mukashin. Do you know that my father had 10 of his hands in Mukashin's hands? For several days, I endured all kinds of torture almost every moment. Tang Lin's body suddenly erupted with boundless chills. What? You are the son of Tang Feng. Ni Yuan couldn't help being shocked when he heard this. Tang Feng was only at the Soul Saint level, and he was just an errand boy for the Haoshan sect. Although he also knew that Tang Feng had some status in the Haoshan sect, he never imagined that Tang Feng would have such a terrifying son. For a moment, it was like a drunken dream. Now, you should know why your Ming Demon Sword sect ended up like this today, and why you were wiped out by me, right? And you must be the same people who were chasing my father back then. Wait a minute. Please listen to me explain. We are chasing your father. That's what Wuhan Palace forced us to do. Think about it. Your father is an important figure in the Haoshan sect. How can we, just the Mingmo sword sect, dare to provoke such a behemoth as the Haoshan sect? I was really forced. If you want revenge, you should go to Mukashin in the Wuhan Hall. Seeing the great elder vomiting blood and dying next to him, the second elder was so panicked that he immediately spoke and began to work hard to fight for a chance of survival for himself. That's right, the massacre of the Wang family back then was also something Wuhan Palace forced us to do. In recent years, our Ming Demon Sword sect has been under the control of Wuhan Palace and we can't help ourselves at all. Do you really think I'm a 3-year-old child? Or do you want to delay time on purpose? Tang Lin smiled. He already knew that Ni Yuan accidentally encountered his father who was chasing him. Where is the spirit hall? Force him to do what he did. He took the initiative to do this because he had the support of Wuhan Palace and was not afraid of the Haoshan sect causing trouble for him. At the same time, he also wanted to do more for Wuhan Palace so that he could be reused and strive to gain a position as one of the 7 major sects in the future. I told you a long time ago, let alone the title Douluo from Wuhan Palace, even if the Heavenly King's labor and management came today, they can't save you. Thinking of the crimes his father suffered, Tang Lin's anger still couldn't be calmed down. Call out. Suddenly, Tang Lin turned into a stream of light and shot towards Ni Yuan, who also slashed out. However, Tang Lin had already upgraded his soul power to level 87, and with the addition of the golden armor, his speed was so fast that he dodged Ni Yuan's attack almost instantly and landed on Ni Yuan's face. Then he kicked hard. Oh. Ni Yuan's body instantly transformed into a bow shape, and he was violently kicked out, with blood flowing from his mouth. The second elder's eyes widened when he saw Tang Lin slowly turning his head. The cold look in his eyes made him feel like he was falling into an ice cave, but he still took action. But what did his attack mean in Tang Lin's eyes? Exactly the same as what happened to the great elder just now. Tang Lin raised his hand and completely blocked it with just his golden armor. Then he swung the pan and unleashed his powerful 5th soul skill. Oh. The second elder was instantly shot flying to the position where Ni Yuan had just stopped. At this moment, he was still staring at death, and his body was even burning with flames. That kick just now didn't kill you. Tang Lin lowered his head, looked coldly at the elder at his feet, and kicked him again, sending him flying to Ni Yuan's feet in the distance. At this point, apart from Tang Lin, the only one left alive on the field was Ni Yuan. He was almost the only one left in the entire Mingmo sword sect. Boom. Suddenly there was thunder, and the originally gloomy sky suddenly started to rain. The rain fell on Ni Yuan's face, but he still couldn't hide his tears. Looking at the 2 elders who had just died at his feet, and then at the corpses and ruins of the sect around him, his head was buzzing at the moment, and there was no anger in his heart, only boundless self-blame and regret. If it weren't for the fact that he wanted to get the position of the 7 major sects, how could he surrender to Wuhan Palace and become the dog of Wuhan Palace? How could he offend Tang Lin, a devil, and end up with the tragic end of the sect being wiped out? I'm sorry for the sect. I'm sorry for you. Ni Yuan knelt in the heavy rain in front of everyone's corpses and apologized loudly. Once upon a time, the sect was everything to him. He lived, he was a struggler. Even if he did those tragic things, it was all for the sect. But now, his clan members have been killed by him, and his sect has been wiped out by him. What reason does he have, and what face do he have to survive in this world? Disciples of the sect, my clan members, I, Ni Yuan, can't help you. I'm here to apologize to you. Ni Yuan looked up to the sky and roared. He immediately raised the Ming Demon Sword in his hand and fiercely stabbed into his own body. The rain keeps falling. Tang Lin frowned. He didn't expect it either. Ni Yuan actually committed suicide in the end. Anyone who commits injustice will be punished by his own death. Tang Lin did not stay longer. His father in Blood Moon City still needed him to save him, so he immediately filled the box and left. Less than a quarter of an hour after he left, the 9th elder sent by Wuhan Palace finally arrived. Chapter 167. Speculations about Wuhan Palace. Execute Tang Feng. The 9th elder frowned and stood in the air. Seeing the destroyed Mingemo sword sect and the dead sect leader Ni Yuan, he just frowned and left again, knowing that he was late. But the Ming Demon Sword sect is just a dispensable existence in his eyes. Without the Ming Demon Sword sect, Wuhan Palace can continue to support other sects, which is nothing more than spending more resources and energy. Exclamation mark. As for the Wuhan Palace, it is only a piece of cake to train a Contra level killer. The 9th Elder returned to Blood Moon City and told exactly what he saw and understood. Although the people in the main hall were a little moved, it was only twice. No one even felt sorry for the Ming Demon Sword sect. They just felt that the Ming Demon Sword sect was too useless. However, although the Wuhan Palace has spent a lot of energy and resources cultivating the Mingmo Sword sect, including its leader Ni Yuan, for so long, the Mingmo Sword sect has also done more for Wuhan Palace, so Wuhan Palace has also not considered a loss. According to what the 9th Elder said, the people who killed almost everyone in the Ming Demon Sword sect didn't seem to be from the Haoshan sect. In fact, there were only traces of one person's actions at the scene. That person must be a strong man at the Contra level. No doubt. The crowd nodded. In this case, the scope of the target can basically be locked. I think, except for those old guys from the 4 major affiliated families of Haoshan sect, there will probably be no one else. I really didn't expect that they still have contact with Haoshan sect. I thought that Haoshan sect left them alone at the beginning, but now they actually help Haoshan sect. Love is really stronger than gold. Then why don't we send someone to investigate now, to find out which one of them was responsible? Although the people in Wuhan Palace don't care much about the life and death of the Mingemo Sword sect, destroying the power they have cultivated in Wuhan Palace is tantamount to slapping Wuhan Palace in the face. This is a provocation to Wuhan Palace, and so, no matter who this person is, the Wuhan Palace must investigate and let him get the punishment he deserves. This matter is not urgent. Yu Guan, who was sitting at the top, said at this moment, now is the critical moment to execute Tang Feng and deal with Haoshan Douluo. Let's put all our energy here first. As for the other things, let's talk about it later. Furthermore, I always feel that the assassination of Mukashin and the extermination of the Mingemo Sword sect may not be that simple. There must be some connection between these two things. Maybe it is not necessarily the same person. They are doing this now, they just want to disturb us. So, how can we let them get what they want? In fact, the people in the hall had different ideas, but in view of the moon barrier, they could not refute. At this time, a ghostly figure suddenly appeared next to Yuguan and said coldly, actually, I think we can send some soul saints or even bring a few people at the Contra level to investigate. If the Haoshan Douluo really wants to save people, except for the powerful ones at the title Douluo level, people at their level may not only be unable to play any role, but will actually hinder our spirit hall. Seeing Ghost Douluo appear, everyone took a breath. In this small Blood Moon city, a 95 level Super Douluo unexpectedly came. After greeting Ghost Douluo, everyone continued to listen to Ghost Douluo's reaction opinions on things. Moreover, why do you so easily conclude that it was the people of the 4 major families who did it? I think that the people of the 4 major families have already hated the Haoshan sect who abandoned them in the first place, so it is basically impossible for them to do it of. Besides, Ni Yuan of the Ming Demon Sword sect was trained by our Wuhan Palace. He is an 87 level attack type fighting soul Douluo. Not only is his overall strength stronger than that of the patriarchs of the 4 major families, but he is also on a par with him. What the 9th Elder saw from the scene of the annihilation was that the people of the Mingemo Sword sect had little resistance to the intruders. So what I mean is, if there is really only one Contra level strongman who takes action, how can so many of them be defenseless? Old Ghost, you mean, maybe more than one Contra took action? Or maybe it was a powerful person at the level of title Douluo? After hearing this, Yu Guan frowned. There was definitely only one person there. The 9th Elder said coldly, he was certain of this. Does that mean that the title Douluo was responsible? From this point of view, there is nothing wrong with the 4 major families. However, the 9th Elder said that there was no trace of the clear sky hammer that he was familiar with at the scene, so it was impossible. It's Tang Heo or Tang Ziro. Then who is this title Douluo? I never said it must be a title Douluo. Just when everyone was immersed in doubts and speculations, the ghost elder added again. Because of these words, everyone fell into deep thought again. If he is not a titled Douluo, but just a contrast, then this person is definitely the best among contrasts, and he is extremely good at hiding himself and assassinating. The ninth elder thought of the expressions of those who died and added analyzed. I didn't expect this person to be so mysterious. Even the spirit hall, which has mastered the information on most of the soul masters in Douluo continent, is hard to guess. It's really getting more and more interesting. Yu Guan didn't care at all about this, and even raised the corner of his mouth, showing an interesting look. Time flies. After a long wait, the day for Tang Feng, the remnant of the Haoshan sect, to be executed has finally arrived. Now, in front of the towering building of Wuhan Palace in Blood Moon City, a huge square is already crowded with people of all kinds. There are civilians and there are soul masters. For a time, the scene was chaotic and noisy. People from Wuhandian are here. Looking from a distance, the soul masters from the Wuhan Palace appeared in neat formations. There were several hundred people in total, divided into several teams, and began to surround the venue, and began to maintain order in the venue. People stepped back step by step, until they were 100 meters away from the execution platform. Tang Heo and Tang Zio are naturally among the onlookers, but they will not stand so close. They are deep in the crowd far away. At this moment, they are also extremely nervous, because no matter what their plan is, how meticulous, as long as the opponent is the unfathomable Wuhan Palace, they can't be % sure. Now under the leadership of Bibidang, the power of Wuhan Palace has gradually consolidated and grown. Even the two empires feel a great threat, let alone these few of them. Under the auspices of the deputy master of Wuhan Hall, the scene fell silent at an extremely fast speed. Everyone knows the tyranny of the Haoshan sect. More than 6 years ago, the Haoshan Douluo of the Haoshan sect killed many masters of our spirit hall. Even the Pope at that time was assassinated by him. No one was spared. However, our Wuhan Palace did not anger the entire Haoshan sect. But not long ago, the people of the Haoshan sect once again attacked the people of our spirit hall. This is unbearable. His Holiness ordered that our Blood Moon City Spirit Hall publicly execute this person in front of the world. Tang Feng, a member of the Haoshan clan with heinous crimes, recommended reading / we want the world to know that, although our Wuhan Palace has never fought with the strength of any sect, we are not afraid of any forces that challenge our Wuhan Palace. We want all the soul masters in the world to know, evil never prevails over good. Come here. Put Tang Feng on the execution platform. Chapter 168. One serious nonsense. I saw a team of 16 soul masters divided into 2 columns, escorting a man with shackled hands and feet from the Wuhan Palace. This man had his head covered with a black bag, and one of his arms was broken. His whole body was stained with blood. He didn't even have the strength to walk at all, and he was completely carried out by the 2 people next to him. Is this person Tang Feng? It's so miserable for him. I suddenly feel so pitiful about him. Look at the injuries on his body. It's obvious that he was tortured, and one of his arms was chopped off. HMPH. This kind of person deserves this kind of fate. What's so pitiful? This is the fate of provoking Wuhan Palace. Wuhan Palace is like an angel in front of the melon-eating crowd, a representative of justice, and the people of Haoshan sect, under the operation of Wuhan Palace during this period, have become the big villains in people's hearts. ! As Tang Feng was being escorted to the execution platform step by step, in Wuhan Hall, Yu Guan, Gui Mei, and the 5 elders of the Elder Hall were paying close attention. As long as someone came out to rescue him, they would take action. Moreover, the people in the surrounding Wuhan Palace have basically been replaced by strong ones at the level of Soul Saints and Soul Douluo. Among the crowd, there are also many experts from the Wuhan Palace and affiliated forces. They and the powerful men in Wuhan Palace have formed a huge encirclement around the execution stage. Even if a title Douluo comes, they will definitely not be able to escape. In the dark, Bibidang was also observing the situation on the field. Ever since she got the information Yu Guan gave her, she was sure that she would gain something from this trip. Haoshan Douluo, I heard that Tang Feng is also your good brother. Don't let me disappoint you. Bibi Dong didn't have much hope for the sect leader Tang Zhao, but for Tang Heo, she wasn't sure if he had heard the news here, but she knew that as long as Tang Heo knew about her brother's situation, he would definitely come to rescue him. Suddenly, a golden light suddenly appeared on the horizon in the distance. Then, like a stream of light, it quickly approached the execution platform in front of the Wuhan Palace from a distance. Can't you bear it anymore? In the Wuhan Hall, the ghostly figure disappeared instantly. Yuguan also opened his eyes, showing a strange smile, and the figure disappeared the next moment. After that, there are 5 elders. Boom. Tang Lin made a high-profile entrance, wearing gleaming gold armor, and jumped directly over the crowd of onlookers, appearing in front of the execution platform. The high-grade rock floor under his feet had been shattered to pieces. Come, who is it? The deputy hall master who was presiding over the scene shouted loudly, but everyone could hear that he didn't have much confidence at the moment, since the palace master was assassinated a few days ago. Moreover, after being assassinated under the eyes of several titled Douluo masters, and the murderers were able to escape, while he was thankful, he was also worried about whether he would encounter the same fate. Because he knew that Tang Feng was from the Haoshan sect, which was once the #1 sect in the world, and their opponent in the spirit hall was the Haoshan sect. But thinking that several adults were watching, he had the courage to shout at the visitor. However, Tang Lin didn't even look at him, completely ignoring his existence. Tang Lin was staring at his father with his head covered. Although he was 100 meters away, he could still feel that this was his father. Originally, he thought that the matter was not that simple, that Wu Hundian might have created a fake one to confuse everyone, but now he was finally relieved. As long as he knew that the person in front of him was his father, he would be more confident in rescuing his father during this trip. The melon-eating crowd was already noisy and talking among themselves. Tang Lin, on the other hand, completely suppressed his emotions and then began to look around him very calmly. The deputy palace master was immediately shocked by Tang Lin's aura, and his feet began to feel weak. You go back. Finally, a person from the Wuhan Hall descended from the sky and waved to the people around him. The crowd pushed the audience back again and then asked the deputy hall master and others to retreat. These people will only get in the way. Who are you, and why did you come to disrupt the execution of criminals in my Wuhan palace? Don't you know that this is the Wuhan palace? The person who came was none other than the 9th elder. He stood in the air and looked down coldly and asked. Tang Lin appeared just now. He vaguely felt a familiar breath. Therefore, he came out, and the aura of the title Douluo on his body was also released without any concealment. Title, Douluo. Seeing the 9 standard soul rings under the 9th elder's feet, the onlookers on the field were astonished. I really didn't expect that I would be able to see a powerful person at the title Douluo level in my life. It seems that my trip to Blood Moon City was really not in vain. Martial Spirit Hall. Tang Lin had no expression at all when the 9th elder showed off his title Douluo's strength. As soon as he came out, he still looked very indifferent, as if title Douluo was nothing in his eyes. So what about the Wuhan Palace? Is it very powerful? Tang Lin directly asked the 9th elder. What about the Spirit Hall? Is Wuhan Palace more powerful? These words can be described as extremely arrogant and domineering. Not only did he ignore the powerful title Douluo, the 9th elder, but he also ignored the entire Spirit Hall. Whoa. As soon as these words came out, there was another uproar on the court. Everyone started talking about Tang Lin. Who is this person? Don't you even know about Wuhan Palace? How dare you talk to a title Douluo like this? This man is wearing gold armor all over his body, which is indeed very unusual, but in front of the Lord of Wuhan Palace, he is too overestimating his abilities. Didn't you see that he is a titled Douluo who can stand in the air? The 9th elder frowned, feeling something strange, and couldn't help but think to himself, the man in front of him is definitely not a fool. He must have some sense of etiquette when he says this, but judging from the aura on his body, he should only have the strength of a Soul King, but he is so confident. Is it because of the armor on his body, or is it because there are other titled Douluo level experts hidden on the field? Although our Wuhan Hall cannot be said to be particularly powerful, it is not something that just anyone can break into. The 9th elder responded coldly. At the same time, he wanted to try to exert his own pressure like Tang Lin. Where did Tang Lin get his confidence? How terrifying is the pressure of a titled Douluo? However, when his coercion met Tang Lin's shiny golden armor, it was like a punch on cotton. Tang Lin sneered, feeling completely fine. He ignored the ninth elder and continued to look in the direction of the spirit hall. After looking at it for a while, Tang Lin realized that his strength was still too weak. He couldn't find the location of Bibidang or her two bastards, so he simply closed his eyes and shouted loudly. He announced towards the direction of Wuhan Palace, "I'm not here to cause trouble today. Your Wuhan Palace mistakenly arrested my young master and even slandered him as a remnant of some sect. Therefore, I'm here today to demand justice for him." Tang Lin resisted the pressure exerted by the ninth elder, but as if nothing was wrong, he directly spread his extremely sincere and loud voice to the surroundings. The ninth elder was completely shocked. I originally imagined that Tang Lin would be in agony under his pressure and then kneel down until someone came to rescue him. However, I didn't expect that Tang Lin would not only be okay, but he could even send his voice through his pressure. Spread around. A monster? Bibidang in the dark was slightly moved at this moment, far away. When Tang Xiao and others saw this scene, not only were they not worried at all, but they laughed. Tang Xiao kept shaking his head and sighing. Tang Lin, this brat, lied without his face turning red or his heart beating. It's not that I knew this was our plan. I almost believed that Wuhan Palace really arrested the wrong person. This kid is just talking nonsense. Next, the second elder and Tang Hao nodded fiercely in agreement. Tang Lin, that brat, really has a way of performing. Chapter 169. Find the murderer, the extremely arrogant Tang Lin. The person you said is yours, is this Tang Feng? The ninth elder looked down at Tang Lin from the sky and asked coldly. Tang Lin finally raised his head and looked at the ninth elder in the sky, frowning and said, "Nonsense, if it wasn't him, couldn't it be you?" Recommended reading / seeing Tang Lin's appearance, the ninth elder frowned slightly. The young man in front of him actually only looked like a teenager. However, Tang Lin's attitude towards him made his face become more and more gloomy, and then he said coldly, "Humph. He is obviously a remnant of the Haitian sect, but you say that he is yours? It is simply ridiculous. And you alone dare to speak shamelessly in front of the door of my Wuhan Palace, saying that you will beg for him. Justice? I want to know, how are you going to get justice for him? HMPH, Wuhan Palace. What a Wuhan Palace. So this is the famous Wuhan Palace in the mainland." At this time, the shiny golden armor on Tang Lin's body became a little brighter again, and two wings suddenly appeared on his back. With a sudden shock, he jumped into the air and stood on the same level as the ninth elder. He looked at the ninth elder coldly and said, "You just asked me how to seek justice for him?" The ninth elder was also a little surprised that Tang Lin suddenly had the ability to fly. However, even though Tang Lin's mere sulking had a strong aura, how could he be able to shake him at all? He put his hands behind his back and looked at Tang Lin coldly. Tang Lin sneered, "This world is very big. Even this continent is only a small part of this world. To be honest, I have seen countless strong people. So even your spirit hall, in my eyes it's nothing more than this. So, if your spirit hall cannot give me a satisfactory result, then I will naturally make your spirit hall pay some price for my people." Tang Lin's aura when he spoke could not be faked, as if he had such confidence in the first place. At the same time, the soul rings under his feet were black, slowly emerging one by one. If Tang Lin was able to flap his wings and fly before, not many people were shocked, but Tang Lin's words just now, many people thought it was a bluff. But now, the 5,000-year soul rings on the soles of Tang Lin's feet were not fake in the slightest. The ninth elder instantly felt Tang Lin's powerful aura. Although he still couldn't shake him, those 5 black soul rings had already made his scalp numb. On the field, it even exploded. What? Am I blinded? His soul rings are all black? How is this possible? No, we all saw it right. There are indeed 5 black soul rings under his feet. Oh my god. Does that mean that the first and second soul rings he absorbed are already 10,000-year level soul rings? He was not exploded. Are there any perverted people in this world? At this moment, even Pope Bibidang, who was observing in secret, began to frown. The titled Douluo experts in the Wuhan Palace were equally confused and shocked. HMPH, although your soul ring looks a bit scary, and it did shock me a little, but why do you think you can make our spirit hall pay the price? After the ninth elder came back to his senses, he couldn't help laughing. He actually wanted to know Tang Lin's true strength at this moment. When such a talented monster appears in front of Wu Handian, there can only be two outcomes for him. Join the spirit hall, or die. Therefore, the ninth elder smiled. In his opinion, Tang Lin was stupid. He thought he was invincible because he thought he had some strength. Tang Lin also showed disdain. A 2-meter long pan instantly appeared in his hand, and then he put it on his shoulder, showing a strange smile and said, "The last person who spoke to me like this, his sect has already." I waved my hand and destroyed him. Moment. The ninth elder in the air seemed to have thought of something, and suddenly showed a shocked expression. That's right, it's him. Must be him. After feeling Tang Lin's aura carefully, the ninth elder finally determined that the person in front of him was the person who killed Mukashin and destroyed the entire Mingemo sword sect. Because he was in Wuhan Hall when Mukashin died, and when he felt it instantly, he found that only the faint breath of the visitor was left at the scene. And when he felt the Dark Demon Sword sect, he also felt the breath of the pan saved by Tang Lin there. So it's you. A powerful aura suddenly erupted from the ninth elder. He looked at Tang Lin coldly. He couldn't understand how Tang Lin's mere sulking, no matter how strong he was, could be stronger than me. Far? Oh. The ninth elder knows me? Tang Lin pretended to be confused. In fact, he had seen the ninth elder after killing Mukashin, so he knew that the ninth elder might have guessed that he was the murderer. Even if the ninth elder did not guess, the person who went to the Ming Demon Sword sect must have guessed that the destruction of the Ming Demon Sword sect was related to him when his pan appeared. However, these were all part of Tang Lin and Tang Heo's plans. It was you. It was you who killed Mukashin, and it was you who wiped out the Mingemo Sword sect alone. The ninth elder said coldly. Yes, it's me. As soon as Tang Lin said this, the scene exploded. With so many powerful soul masters present, how could they not know how powerful the Mingemo Sword sect and its leader Ni Yuan were? However, such a powerful sect has been exterminated, and the young man in golden armor in front of him killed him all by himself, and also, the death of the master of the Soul Hall in Blood Moon City. It turned out to be his handwriting. Regarding the death of Wuhan Palace Master Mukashin, many soul masters present here have already learned about the specific situation at that time. This is also because Wuhan Palace is too arrogant, so they did not block the news. Such an assassination of the palace master, the people actually escaped from the hands of several titled Douluo, and not even the Wuhan Palace found any trace. Terrible. When they knew about this at that time, they could only use these two words to describe the assassin. Unexpectedly, it was also Tang Lin. But, how did he, a mere sulking, do all this? Exclamation mark. You know, even a titled Douluo would not dare to guarantee that he would escape unscathed after killing people under the noses of several titled Douluo in Wuhan Palace. At this moment, everyone was full of curiosity about Tang Lin, and many soul masters even showed admiration. Hearing Tang Lin's unscrupulous admission, the faces of the powerful men in Wuhan Palace were extremely cold. The ninth elder raised his momentum and pressure to a terrifying level, and he was ready to take action if he disagreed. Didn't you just want to know how I, the young master, can get justice for him by myself? Tang Lin faced the anger of the ninth elder and didn't care. The Mingemo Sword sect captured him and crippled him. He had an arm, but they offended me, and they were still complacent about it, so I could only kill them casually. Anyway, they are a group of extremely vicious people, so they will die if they die. As for Mukashin, the master of your Wuhan Palace, he deserves to die even more. When he imprisoned my people, he actually tortured my people. Hear. The soul masters on the field were all amazed, and even thinking about it felt a chill in their backs. The people in the Wuhan Palace were even starting to be so angry that they couldn't bear it any longer. The ninth elder even took a step forward in Tang Lin's direction. However, Tang Lin hasn't finished speaking yet. Tang Lin's next words shocked almost everyone present, including the ninth elder who was about to take action. Of course, I also know that this was probably the news that your spirit hall deliberately revealed. That's why I didn't destroy your entire Blood Moon City spirit hall at that time. I already gave your spirit hall a lot of face. Otherwise, do you think the 4 or 5 titled Douluo you were present at that time would still be alive to this day? Whoa. As soon as these words came out, it was like a thunder. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170. Him shocked everyone. In the eyes of everyone, when Tang Lin said this, it seemed that he said it directly from the bottom of his heart without thinking at all. Therefore, the weight of this sentence is huge. The ninth elder also saw that Tang Lin was not joking, so he was immediately frightened and did not take action. He carefully recalled the situation at that time. There were indeed 5 titled Douluo in Wuhan Hall at that time, and it was only him and 2 of them. A total of 3 titled Douluo had shown their faces, but Tang Lin could directly tell that there were 5 of them at that time, indicating that the 2 who were hiding in the secret were also discovered by Tang Lin. And even if the 3 titled Douluo took action, they couldn't find any clues about Tang Lin, which is very intriguing. Interesting. Bibi Dang, who was hiding in the dark, showed a strange and cold smile. Then, she directly sent a message to the 9th elder. She wanted to see what the extremely arrogant young master in front of her was capable of. After receiving the message from Pope Bibi Dang, the 9th elder was immediately reassured. With the Pope here, what else did he have to worry about? Huh, you are so young, but you are so arrogant. I want to see how young you are, and how dare you say such frivolous words. The 9th elder's expression changed instantly. He activated his martial soul and the soul ring under his feet moved. The figure disappeared, and he actually shot directly at Tang Lin. Tang Lin grinned, and even put away his martial soul. The soul ring also disappeared, and then he said jokingly, with a mere level 91 soul power, the one with the lowest strength among titled Douluo, even touching you don't even have the qualifications to touch my young master's clothes. HMPH, you don't even use the martial spirit. You are so arrogant and arrogant. This is the first time in my life that I have seen you. Seeing that Tang Lin didn't even use the martial spirit when facing him, the 9th elder was filled with anger. Tang Lin activated the Shionai golden armor with all his strength, and the pair of flame-like wings instantly grew in size. Facing the attack of the 9th elder, Tang Lin's body instantly turned into a golden stream of light and disappeared directly on the spot. He actually dodged the 9th elder's attack. The next moment, his figure had appeared behind the 9th elder. He had no intention of taking action against the 9th elder. He just held his hands on his chest and looked at the 9th elder in the Elder Hall of the Spirit Hall in a joking manner. The 9th elder turned around, frowning, with a look of surprise and a hint of fear on his face. He murmured in his heart, this kid is really weird. The armor on his body is definitely extraordinary. It actually makes him reach the speed of a titled Douluo level. At the same time, he put away his contempt for Tang Lin and started to get serious. The 5th soul ring under his feet moved, and he attacked Tang Lin again. However, after several attempts, he discovered that, no matter how fast he was, Tang Lin's speed would always be a few points faster than him. No matter how he attacks, Tang Lin can rely on his speed advantage to perfectly dodge. At this moment, not only was he shocked by Tang Lin's strength, but the soul masters in the square of Wuhan Palace seemed to have exploded. While they were shocked, they were also talking about Tang Lin crazily. They really never expected that Tang Lin, who was no more than a 5-ringed Soul King, could actually trick the titled Douluo level elders of the Wuhan Palace around like monkeys without using martial souls. It was just like what he said at the beginning. This titled Douluo of Wuhan Palace was not even qualified to touch the hem of his clothes. Not only them, but Tang Xiao and the 2nd elder were also deeply shocked. Tang Heo was the only one with a calm expression, because he was the only one who knew Tang Lin's strength best. It's Tang Lin. In the distance, in a luxurious suite of the hotel, the members of the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family looked through the window and saw the young man on the court. They were surprised to find that this man was actually Tang Lin. Tang Lin was the one who took away their saint girl. With that appearance and that martial spirit, it's definitely him. I didn't expect it to be able to fight against a titled Douluo now. An elder's face gradually showed hatred and deep fear. Now that Tang Lin has appeared, it means that Tang Heo and the saint are very likely nearby. Keep an eye on him immediately. We just need to continue to observe in secret to see how Wuhan Palace will deal with them. When both of them are injured, we will take the saint away. The great elder said immediately. The saint is his granddaughter and the hope of their blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex. He must take her back and train her well. As for Tang Lin, he is a strange existence. Coupled with the terrifying Tang Heo, the blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family cannot provoke them, yet and can only secretly find the whereabouts of the saint through them. In fact, Tang Lin had long considered that people from the blue lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family might also come to join in the fun because of Tang Heo. However, he still did not hide his appearance and martial arts spirit, just to tell the blue lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family that even the spirit hall. I don't worry, if you have any ideas about Xiaomi, it will be like humiliating yourself. But how did he know that the people of the blue lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family had expectations and desires for the saint? Right next to the blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family, people from the Seven Treasures Glazed sect also arrived, and the people who came were the sect leader and Sword Douluo. Because he had thought that Wuhan Palace might want to use this opportunity to get rid of the two brothers Tang Heo and Tang Xiao, so how could he not come and take a look? I didn't expect it was him. When Ning Fengxi saw Tang Lin, he was really shocked by Tang Lin. Sect Master knows this person? Sword Douluo asked curiously. Ning Fengxi couldn't help but sigh. I think the first time I met him was at the Solar Arena in Soto City. At that time, he and another child formed a little forest group at the Solar Arena in Soto. Their generosity and brilliance made me see their huge potential, and I sincerely recruited them at the time. I didn't expect that he had grown to such a terrifying level in such a short period of time. He was so weird and evil, it really shocked me. Got it. At this moment, not only the people from the blue lightning Tyrannosaurus family and the Kibeo glazed sect were shocked by Tang Lin, but almost everyone present at the scene, including the 7 major sects, the 2 major empires, and the spirit hall, except Tang Heo. He was shocked. At this moment, the 9th elder's face turned red. Looking at Tang Lin's extremely unbeatable expression, he was already going crazy in his heart. Coupled with the comments around him, he was even more furious. He was extremely humiliated. This was definitely the most humiliating thing he had ever suffered in his life. The greatest humiliation. You don't have to be angry, because your strength is indeed too weak, and you can't even touch me. Now, have you figured out how the Ming Demon Sword sect was in the hands of a Soul King level person like me? Is it destroyed? Tang Lin chuckled. Chapter 171. The 7 titled Douluo appear. Yu Guan takes action. The 9th elder was directly despised by Tang Lin, and his heart was full of anger, but his effect had been achieved, because, secretly, Bibi Dong has put Tang Lin, the Avildoer, on her must-kill list, because she has seen the horror of Tang Lin. When Tang Lin grows up in the future, even if he cannot become a god, he will pose a threat to the spirit hall. Even worse than Tang Xiao and the seriously injured Tang Heo and others. Next, let's see if there is anyone else behind him. Yu Guan, it's your turn. Bibi Dong directly sent a message to Yu Guan and others, giving the order suddenly. A huge golden chrysanthemum fell from the sky with boundless pressure and momentum. Yu Guan appeared in the sky above Wuhan Palace, and behind him stood 4 elders from the spirit hall. At the same time, a ghostly figure appeared next to Tang Feng. In an instant, 6 titled Douluo appeared on the field, including the 9th elder. There are already 7 powerful titled Douluo just on the surface. Hiss. Everyone took a breath of cold air and almost couldn't relax. They swore that this was definitely the most shocking scene they had ever seen in their lives. You already have such strength at such a young age. I have to say that you are the most evil monster I have ever seen in my life. I haven't been this excited for a long time. Our Wuhan Palace needs talents like you very much. If you are willing to join our Wuhan Palace, the position of the Holy Son of our Wuhan Palace is yours. We will unconditionally devote all our lives learning to training you, and you can even become the next pope of our Wuhan palace. As for the person below, we can naturally return it to you. What do you think about it?" As soon as Yu Guan appeared, he looked at Tang Lin from a high position and expressed his admiration for Tang Lin. The 2 Super Douluo and the 5 titled Douluo were in full aura, and they started to win over Tang Lin first. There are 7 major titled Douluo, and there are even 2 who are level 95 super titled Douluo. Are these people just sent out to monitor the execution of my people? You really think highly of my people? Tang Lin also knew that Wuhan Palace saw his potential, and if they failed to win over him, they would definitely use all their strength to kill him. There was no doubt about this. However, how could Tang Lin be threatened by them? Father, he will save himself, and Wu Handian will also pay the due price. As soon as Tang Lin's words came out, the audience immediately started talking. They were shocked that among these 7 titled Douluo, there were actually 2 Super Douluo. What was even more surprising was that these 7 titled Douluo were actually the ones who never expected that even the strength of level 95 Yu Guan and Gui Mei could be clearly seen by this young man. This boy is indeed a monster. However, I'm very happy for you to win over me because you are very smart and have seen my potential. However, when it comes to joining the Spirit Hall, you are still too weak. Even if you try your best, you will not be able to train me, my young master, and I have no interest in becoming the Pope of His Highness Wuhan, so I'm afraid I will disappoint you. Tang Lin said it casually, as if to elaborate on a fact. At the moment when Tang Lin refused, the eyes of Yu Guan, Gui Mei and others suddenly became sharp, and the field was filled with an icy chill. In this case, we can't return this person to you, and you will also be punished as you deserve for breaking into my Wuhan palace and disrupting my Wuhan palace's execution of criminal laws. Yu Guan smiled coldly. Now, I'll give you another chance. Please consider carefully whether to join my Spirit Hall. Tang Lin chuckled. As soon as he joined, he would probably be used by Bibi Dong for experiments. After all, they must also want to know why they are so perverted, whether they ate something wrong or something. Tang Lin shook his head and replied forcefully and seriously, I will give you Wuhan Palace another chance and let my people go immediately. Otherwise, you Wuhan Palace will also do this pay out generation price. Pay the price. These few words are sonorous and powerful, constantly echoing in this square. Yu Guan never expected that Tang Lin's answer would be like this. He was immediately angry. There was no longer a trace of obscene smile on his face, only a cold murderous intention. You are so arrogant. You think you can survive in the hands of the 9th Elder. Do you think you are invincible after just a few rounds? In the face of absolute strength, your little tricks will become extremely ridiculous. He knew that Tang Lin's strength was indeed only at the Soul King level, but he could fly in the air, and his speed even reached the level of a titled Douluo. All of this was because of the clothes he was wearing. That golden armor. This must be an extremely rare special soul tool, but soul tools require soul power all the time, and Tang Lin used this soul tool to fly in the air, even reaching the level of a titled Douluo at such a speed. The consumption of soul power must be huge. Even if he didn't take action, he believed that Tang Lin would never last long under the 9th Elder. This is his judgment and Bibi Dong's judgment too. Therefore, he thought he had seen through all of Tang Lin's little tricks. It's ridiculous. You talk too much. If you can do something, just stop talking nonsense, okay? You will only make me think you are a joke, you know. Hearing Yu Guan's words, Tang Lin couldn't help but frown. He knew this person. It's Chuhuaguen, but I don't know that he talks so much nonsense. His father was not in a very good condition at the moment, so apart from what he planned to show off, he didn't want to waste any more time chatting with the person in front of him. The moon pass suddenly stagnated. At the same time, there was a serious look on his face. The chrysanthemum in the air was spinning rapidly, and its extremely hard petals formed rose in an instant, aiming at Tang Lin. Yu Guan took action. Tang Lin's expression finally became more serious and solemn. After his Xianai golden armor was integrated into the soul crystal, its extreme speed could reach the speed of a level 95 super titled Douluo. However, even so, facing the real super titled Douluo, he still felt a little uneasy in his heart. At this moment, He finally released his martial soul and soul ring again. At the same time, a contra experience card also appeared in his hand. If he wants to avoid Yu Guan's attack, he must go all out. Tang Lin's soul power skyrocketed from Soul King level to contra level at a terrifying speed. This made everyone unexpected. Even Bibi Dong, who was secretly staring at Tang Lin on the field with his eyes wide open in disbelief. As for Yu Guan, he was already extremely sensitive to soul power and aura. Naturally, he could feel Tang Lin's aura very clearly. Why couldn't he understand how a person's soul power could instantly rise from level 85 to more than levels? Reach level. Tang Lin's change caused his attack to stagnate. This stagnation also gave Tang Lin enough time to prepare. At this moment, Tang Lin's physical and mental state was extremely full. With the Xian'ai golden armor, he was confident that he could play with Yu Guan for a while. Yu Guan's face was solemn, but at this moment, the arrow was already on the string, and he had to fire it, and he couldn't care so much. Even if it skyrocketed to the contra level, could he withstand his own attack? How naive. Suddenly, he waved his hand, and petals shot out in Tang Lin's direction at high speed. At this moment, Tang Lin also moved. The figure flickered, leaving only a shadow on the spot. The golden petals attacked the shadow, and then immediately followed in the direction of Tang Lin. How is that possible? Tang Lin's speed suddenly exploded to an extremely terrifying level, and he easily dodged Yu Guan's attack. Yu Guan couldn't help but frown. But the next moment, he stretched out his hand again, and a small chrysanthemum appeared in his palm. This was his plant-based sensing martial spirit, the Qian Tang Xianju. At this moment, a black soul ring flashed above the chrysanthemum, and the speed of the petals following Tang Lin more than doubled in an instant. This was so sudden that Tang Lin almost didn't react. However, it was now the strength of contra, and his perception was already strong, so he quickly reacted. So he injected soul power into the armor, and the speed of the whole person increased sharply again. Seeing those petals about to bombard Tang Lin, however, the next moment Tang Lin's speed suddenly increased, and he actually opened the distance again, constantly dodging the attacks of the petals. How is this possible? Yu Guan, Bibi Dong and other strong men from the spirit hall were immediately surprised. At the same time, the masters who were watching this battle were also filled with emotion. The shock that Tang Lin brought to everyone seemed to have no end. As for the soul masters off the field, who were not above the contra level, Tang Lin could not be seen at all. But the impact Tang Lin gave him was equally huge, because Tang Lin was actually fighting a level 95 super titled Douluo, and he was not defeated in an instant. HMPH. As expected of monster, you do have some abilities. But, where can you escape to? I want to see how long you can last in this state. Yu Guan's face looked a little ugly, and he continued to use his strength to control his petals chase Tang Lin, and as he watched Tang Lin dodge attacks back and forth on the field, a teasing smile gradually appeared on his face. Point starter, but how could he have thought that Tang Lin's soul power could be said to be endless? Not to mention how many experience cards he had. Just by destroying the Mingemo sword sect, he had obtained a large number of soul crystals, which was enough for gold. The armor has been continuously consumed for half a year. Tang Lin sighed slightly. He now has an extremely mysterious and powerful image in Wuhan Palace. Therefore, Yu Guan and even Bibi Dong have actually been calculated by him. Chapter 172. Kill the title Douluo with one hit. This kid is so good at running, he can actually hold on for so long. Yu Guan frowned. The fatigue he had imagined for Tang Lin did not appear. He was a perceptive soul master. At this moment, he felt that Tang Lin's aura was stable, his soul power fluctuated without any confusion, and he was still in peak condition. In that case, I want to see how you can evade my next move. The black sixth soul ring at Yu Guan's feet moved, and he whispered, the sixth soul skill, golden RUI flowing clouds. Anim, don't mind. He saw the strange velvet-toothed chrysanthemum appearing in his hand, and a powerful soul force gathered together, and along with the densely packed golden petals, they shot out in the direction of Tang Lin like a meteor shower. The attack range of this soul skill is extremely large. It was originally a group attack method, but at this moment, he was using it to attack Tang Lin alone. Now, all the powerful men in Wuhan Palace were paying close attention to Tang Lin. They wanted to see how this kid could evade Yu Guan's large-scale attack. Metropolitan. In the distance, the second elder is already ready to make a move. Second brother? Tang Zio was also extremely worried. There's no rush, we can just keep watching. It's not the time for us to take action yet. Tang Heo replied calmly without any emotion on his face. Tang Zio and the two were speechless. You must know that Tang Lin is now the treasurer of the Haoshan sect. Tang Zio has even decided to announce that Tang Lin will be included in the family tree after returning, and even ask him to take over the Haoshan sect's inheritance from now on. They couldn't let Tang Lin have an accident here under any circumstances, so they were very worried about Tang Lin. However, seeing Tang Heo's appearance, and thinking about the monster Tang Lin, they instantly relaxed a lot. On the field, feeling the mass attack methods of Juhuagwen, and looking at the strong show of Wuhan Palace at this moment, Tang Lin grinned and said disdainfully, "You think you are better than that titled Douluo just now? Where to go? In my eyes, you are nothing more than that. He has no right to touch the corner of my clothes, and the same goes for you. What a shame," Yu Guan said coldly. He didn't expect that Tang Lin would put himself on the same level as the ninth elder and be deeply despised, which made him even more angry. Tang Lin shook his head, laughing at these people. Do they think this is his fastest speed? You know, if you activate the Shianai golden armor with all your strength, even Haoshan Douluo may not be able to catch up. That speed is equivalent to that of a level 95 titled Douluo. A confident and powerful aura burst out, and Tang Lin's speed instantly reached an extreme. It was the speed of a level 95 Super Douluo, and even reached the speed of an agility type Super Douluo. As the meteor shower hit him quickly, his figure had also disappeared. Boom. Yu Guan's soul skills all bombarded the square, and bursts of dust and smoke instantly rose from the field. Did it hit? What everyone is most concerned about is this issue. However, Yu Guan, who has a keen sense of perception, knew that although the attack just now had a large range, it still did not hit Tang Lin, because Tang Lin's speed could actually increase again. Terrible. This person must be eliminated. This is the only thought of the powerful men in Wuhan Palace at this moment. The four titled Douluo behind Yu Guan set off at the same time, waiting for the car to stand around the square. A total of 7 titled Douluo formed a siege on Tang Lin, because they knew that Tang Lin was extremely fast. No matter what, they couldn't let Tang Lin escape. The dust and smoke quickly dispersed, and Tang Lin, wearing the Shianai golden armor, stood in the sky with his hands behind his back, and the pair of wings behind his back flapped back and forth, like a god of war. Is this the so-called Wuhan Palace? Seeing so many people blocking all his roads in an instant, Tang Lin still didn't show any panic, but coldly glanced at these 7 people one by one. The current situation is developing as he expected, even more perfect than he expected. It's okay to bully the small with the big, but you still want to bully the small with the big. Tang Lin looked around and finally set his target on the 9th elder, who was the weakest and closest to him on the field. At this moment, a wave of a powerful aura burst out from his body instantly, and within the time limit of using the burning experience card, his soul power directly reached level 89. I just want to get back my son, but I don't want to be an enemy of your Wuhan Palace. Therefore, I have never made a move against any of you. Could it be that because of this, you mistakenly think that I are you easy to bully? Done. Tang Lin's figure disappeared instantly. Be careful. I don't know who shouted, however. How fast was Tang Lin at this moment? Almost in the blink of an eye, Tang Lin's figure appeared behind the 9th elder, and at this moment, the 9th elder had not even reacted. Tang Lin's strong hands quickly waved the huge pan with red flames, and with an elegant and perfect gesture, he smacked the 9th elder directly on the head. Duang. With a loud noise, Tang Lin's pan hit the 9th elder on the head without any surprise. This is Tang Lin's 7-year-old soul ring skill. You can imagine how powerful it is. Oh. There was another loud noise, and the 9th elder was driven into the ground. This time Tang Lin was able to succeed with one attack. First of all, the 9th elder was not prepared for him. He thought that Tang Lin could only dodge. Even if he had attack power, it wouldn't be much. What's more, there were only so many bang titles on the field. Douluo, he never expected that Tang Lin would suddenly attack him. Secondly, Tang Lin exploded instantly. This is due to his Super Douluo level speed. The titled Douluo on the field immediately widened their eyes and looked at Tang Lin in disbelief. This guy actually dared to take action and was actually hit by him. The ghost Douluo on the ground instantly appeared above the pit, and the ninth elder almost died. In just a short moment, Tang Lin knocked down a title Douluo with one blow. At this moment, those who originally thought that Tang Lin only had some speed advantage due to his armor were shocked, and they immediately stopped looking down on Tang Lin. Even though the ninth elder was unprepared, he was still a title Douluo level expert, so the attack power of Tang Lin's attack was actually enough to threaten the title Douluo. After one blow, Tang Lin didn't even bother to look at the result of the ninth elder, because he knew that, as long as the ninth elder was not ironclad and didn't hit his head with a single blow this time, even if he didn't die, he would still be considered a useless person. Let me reiterate, I don't want to be an enemy of your Wuhan palace. Of course, it's not because I'm afraid of your Wuhan palace. It's just that the purpose of my coming here is to take my people away. If someone leaves it to me and attacks me again, I can guarantee that the next one to lie down will not be as simple as the title Douluo who just lay down, but will be a real corpse. If you really want to take action against me, you have to think clearly about whether your spirit hall can afford the price of taking action against me. Tang Lin carried the burning flat-bottomed Guo looked at everyone coldly and spoke word by word. Of course, Tang Lin also knew that it was impossible for these title Douluo to be truly intimidated by his own momentum, but he had to show the momentum and attitude he should have. Just now, he called himself I instead of I, which means that he gave Wu Hundian a lot of face. If Wu Hundian still takes action against him, then he will occupy the word reason. It is equivalent to standing on the side of morality. Seeing that Tang Lin still had such confidence and momentum in front of many titled Douluo, everyone admired him endlessly. The titled Douluo who used to be so aloof seemed to be downgraded a lot at this moment. You are so arrogant. How dare you hurt my elder of the spirit hall. You are seeking death. Yu Guan said angrily. Not only did Tang Lin severely injure the ninth elder, he actually dared to threaten the spirit hall with arrogant words. What kind of existence is Wuhan Palace, and when has it ever been threatened? He took action immediately, and the other titled Douluo, as early as the moment the ninth elder was knocked down, had released their own martial souls and soul rings, and were ready to fight. Of course Tang Lin couldn't defeat these people by himself, but after what he just said, these people attacked him again without even thinking about it, which made him extremely angry. Tang Lin also knew that this group of people just wanted to find out their own strength and then see if there was anyone else behind them. If no one came out again, they would naturally kill them here. But how could Tang Lin let them get what they wanted so easily? He wouldn't be happy if Wuhan Palace didn't have to pay some price. Now that you have made your choice, be prepared to bear all the consequences. At this moment, Tang Lin's deep and cold voice echoed around. Everyone felt uneasy for no reason. Kill. I want to see what else this kid is capable of. Yu Guan was indifferent, and he couldn't disobey the Pope's order. Chapter 173. Titled Douluo's Death, a mysterious strongman appears. Bibi Dong knew that Tang Lin was definitely not a stupid person, so he could not come alone. Therefore, the only way to force the people behind him out was to continue attacking him. If no one came out, then of course he would directly, by killing Tang Lin here in front of everyone. No one can offend the majesty of Wuhan Palace. Yu Guan is very fast, but as agility attack Ghost Douluo, he is even faster. The two of them have been close friends for many years, and have a tacit understanding of each other. One of them attacked Tang Lin from the sky and the other from the ground at the same time. Although the other title Douluo did not attack together, they had already surrounded Tang Lin. Tang Lin's range of movement had been greatly reduced, and his speed advantage had obviously been reduced to a minimum. But Tang Lin didn't panic at all. He just glanced at him and disappeared in front of everyone. This sudden scene caused the two Super Douluo to suddenly freeze, and Yu Guan felt it immediately. However, there was no trace of Tang Lin in this space, only some of Tang Lin's previous aura. How can that be? Yu Guan's eyes widened immediately. His martial soul was Tang Shenju. He was the most sensitive to the Soul Master's breath, soul power, etc. It was almost the nightmare of all stealth Soul Masters and Soul Beasts. However, this time, even no trace of Tang Lin was found. Not only him, but even Bibi Dong suddenly couldn't sense Tang Lin's presence. You know, Bibi Dong already had a hint of God in her body at this moment, but she still couldn't figure out how Tang Lin disappeared. After using it several times, Tang Lin has a certain understanding of his phantom tank. Although it is not a domain type soul skill, it is a soul skill with spatial attributes. When it is used, the whole person feels as if he has escaped from this world. He entered another space from one space and could clearly see the situation outside. As long as he didn't take action or take the initiative to cancel this soul skill, he would always be in this space. The only drawback is that after using this soul skill, you can no longer move it at will. You can only stay where you used it. If you want to move, you can only cancel the soul skill. However, the people in Wuhan Hall naturally didn't know that Tang Lin was still in the same position he had just stayed at, observing each of them carefully. However, the 6 titled Douluo on the field were at their most vigilant at this time. It was naturally impossible for Lin to take action at this time. But Tang Lin still remembered his warning to Wuhan Palace just now, so this time his target was still the titled Douluo of Wuhan Palace, and this time, he needed to teach Wuhan Palace a lesson, otherwise, they really thought I was kidding them. At this time, because the ghost had rushed into the air, Tang Feng, who was lying on the ground, was left alone for an instant. However, the moment Tang Lin disappeared, a control type titled Douluo appeared next to Tang Feng, and his martial arts the ghost pattern red vine directly lifted Tang Feng up, but his method was a bit rough, causing the seriously injured Tang Feng to spit out a mouthful of blood. Tang Lin clenched his fist and stared directly at him. At the moment, when Tang Lin was staring at him, he shuddered for no reason. He felt as if there was a beast staring at him around him. He immediately raised his spirits. Be alert. Tang Lin was always observing, and he could probably guess that this control type titled Douluo's comprehensive strength should be the highest among the 4 ordinary titled Douluo, but at the same time, his defense was also the weakest. Tang Lin determined his target almost instantly, and since this man had been so rough to his father just now, he naturally couldn't let him go. 98k slowly appeared in Tang Lin's hand. He knew that he had only one chance to kill a powerful titled Douluo in front of many titled Douluo, and so, he must adjust his condition, find and seize the right opportunity, otherwise, he will not be able to kill the titled Douluo. After all, there is most likely a more powerful spirit hall master hidden in the secret. Where's that kid? The moment Tang Lin disappeared, Yu Guan exclaimed, while Ghost Douluo also frowned, looking around for traces of Tang Lin. Your Majesty the Pope. Yu Guan hurriedly sent a message to Bibi Dong secretly. He didn't escape. He's still on the field. Be careful. Bibi Dong was also looking for Tang Lin's location, but within a short period of time, even she couldn't find it. Tang Lin was still waiting. He was waiting for the control type titled Douluo to relax. Even if he only relaxed for a moment, Tang Lin would take action without hesitation. As time passed, the onlookers, under the protection of the Star Luo Empire's capital guards, slowly withdrew within a few miles of the Wuhan Palace. Only the powerful soul masters were left nearby. The 4 ordinary titled Douluo on the field still maintained a high degree of vigilance, but Yu Guan became impatient and immediately snorted coldly and said, "Humph, I didn't expect this kid to be able to hide. Since he refuses to come out, then let's continue." Elder Han Teng pressed Tang Feng onto the execution platform. Yes, it's now. Boom. With the sound of a gunshot, Tang Lin's figure suddenly appeared in midair at the place where he had disappeared. The Elder Han Teng of Wuhan Palace bowed when he just answered Yu Guan. Of course, Tang Lin would not let this go. Chance. At this time, the bullet had already passed through the heart of his just raised head. At the same time, the ghost's attack arrived in front of Tang Lin, almost as soon as the gunshot was fired. However, Tang Lin smiled slightly. Oh. The ghost's attack directly hit Tang Lin's body. Tang Lin was instantly shot to the ground like a cannonball, and a deep crack was instantly created on the ground. This all happens almost in an instant. The dust and smoke quickly dispersed. Tang Lin stood on the ground, looking coldly at Ghost Douluo above him, then patted the dust on his chest, and couldn't help but thought to himself, it's a good thing he has golden armor, otherwise he might have stabbed him like this. His whole body will be penetrated by him. Although Ghost Douluo is a level 95 Super Douluo, the strength he unleashed at that moment was definitely not his strongest blow, so the shiny golden armor did not suffer much damage at all. How is this possible? Everyone stared in disbelief at the intact Tang Lin on the ground. They never expected that the defensive capabilities of Tang Lin's armor could actually reach this level. You know, the one who took action was Ghost Douluo. At the same time, PFFT, Elder Han Teng next to Tang Feng, with a slight shock on his face, fell to the ground and died. Start a red vine. Moment. 7 or 8 healing powerhouses flew out from the direction of Wuhan Palace, came to his side, and treated him immediately. However, how could Tang Lin's 98k be that simple? Although there is no blessing from the sniper field, and Tang Lin only has level 89 soul power, facing Han Teng Douluo with such a fragile defense, Tang Lin is still extremely confident in his 98k. He believes that Han Teng Douluo's power at this moment is your brain has been blasted. Several titled Douluo in the sky watched nervously. After a moment, as Tang Lin expected, the healing soul master shook their heads helplessly. Boom. At this moment, several powerful and unparalleled momentums exploded instantly, huge energy raged, and the ground began to tremble. They stared coldly at Tang Lin, who killed a powerful member of their Wuhan Hall under their noses. A man of powerful elders. If eyes can kill. Tang Lin has died countless times now. I just said that, if you attack me again, there will be a corpse lying down. Do you really think that I'm bored? Why don't I joke with you again? Tang Lin spread his hands and said nonchalantly just now. They finally realized that Tang Lin was not joking, let alone talking nonsense. He was indeed ruthless. At this time, they can no longer control so much. The young man in front of them is already on the same level as them. However, just when Yu Guanji Ui Medi and other titled Douluo present were preparing to attack Tang Lin at the same time, a powerful and suppressed energy suddenly appeared around him. They reacted instantly and immediately raised their heads and looked into the sky. They saw a figure appearing in the sky at some point. Martial Soul Hall, well done. You actually bullied the small ones with the big ones in front of everyone. You really think we are easy to bully? At this time, a voice with boundless majesty and a little anger came out. But everyone still couldn't see his face. They could only see the soles of his feet. And then everyone was extremely shocked to see a scene that made them unbelievable. Chapter 174. One person, suppressing the whole crowd. I saw a huge golden warhammer appearing in the sky. The whole body of the warhammer was shrouded in golden light, and there seemed to be several dragon patterns hovering in it. What kind of martial spirit is this? I don't know. I've never seen it. I've never heard of it. Even as an elder of the Martial Soul Hall, I have been engaged in martial arts related work my whole life, but I have never seen this kind of martial spirit in any classics. Not only the people from the Wuhan Palace, but also the people from the 2 major empires and the 7 major sects present, have never seen this kind of Wuhan appear on the mainland. Is it possible that this person comes from overseas, and his family has been living in seclusion for generations? Otherwise, how come we have never heard of this kind of martial spirit? When the golden dragon patterned warhammer appeared, everyone immediately started talking. However, at this moment, under the man's swing, the warhammer instantly hit the direction of the 5 titled Douluo in the spirit hall below. Not good. It was just a simple strike. Before that person even released his soul ring and used his soul ring skills, the 5 titled Douluo of the 2nd spirit hall suddenly felt its power. The 5 people cooperated tacitly and immediately worked together to take action. For a moment, the field was filled with brilliant colors. Boom. Huge soul power fluctuations raged around them at the moment they collided. The air shook, buildings crumbled, and even the ground trembled. The strength of the newcomer was too strong. Their hasty combined attack was instantly shattered. In an instant, the 5 of them were knocked down from the air by him. They all stared at the mysterious strong man high in the sky with gloomy faces. This person actually suppressed the entire audience by himself. Uncle 11. At this time, Tang Lin suddenly shouted in surprise. HMPH, you went out of the island privately behind our backs, and you still have the nerve to call me. Wait until I finish taking care of things here, and see how I deal with you. A majestic voice came from high in the sky. Tang Lin scratched his head and smiled. The people who were paying close attention here were shocked when they heard the conversation between the two. This mysterious strong man who single-handedly defeated the 5-title Douluo was actually the uncle of the boy wearing golden armor on the field. Hiss. Everyone took a deep breath. Tang Lin's strength at such a young age is already so terrifying and perverted, and his uncle is even more terrifying. He didn't even release the soul ring, but just knocked back several strong men with a simple hammer. This what a terrifying family they are. At the same time, another change occurred on the field. I saw a man in black wearing a mysterious tortoise mask appear next to Tang Feng in an instant. He immediately lifted Tang Feng up with his hands and took a step. It seemed very slow, but the next step directly came to Tang Lin around. Master. He supported Tang Feng and actually called Tang Lin young master. Yes. Tang Lin nodded and couldn't help but glance at his father, but he still hid his emotions perfectly, then looked to the other side again, coldly facing the man in black with a turtle pattern mask in front of him. Said, "Bring them over to me." "Yes, young master." The man in black disappeared in an instant, and when he reappeared, he was already beside the healing soul masters who had just come out to treat Han Teng Douluo. The soul masters suddenly felt like they were facing formidable enemies, even though they had all reached the soul emperor level. But they are auxiliary healing soul masters, and their combat effectiveness can be imagined. Starter. The man in black didn't even use his martial soul or soul ring. A powerful pressure suppressed him instantly. Just when he was about to bring those people back to Tang Lin, a man from the spirit hall attacked him. The powerful soul Douluo man couldn't help it and attacked him immediately. This person is here, and he doesn't even pay attention to his Wuhan palace. How can he bear it? However, even the title Douluo present could feel the strength of this person and did not take action. What could he do as a contra? The man in black snorted coldly and raised his kick. The contra strong man was instantly kicked to the ground. The next moment, the man in black had appeared next to Tang Lin. "Treat him immediately, otherwise, he will die," Tang Lin said coldly to those soul emperors. At this moment, a powerful aura suddenly erupted from the man in black, and 9 standard soul rings, yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 appeared instantly under his feet. With that momentum, they would be killed if they disagreed. Those soul emperors had no choice. The titled Douluo of Wuhan Palace was now suppressed by the mysterious strong man in the sky. They couldn't even take care of themselves. There is no time to take care of this. So, several people immediately started treating Tang Feng. Hiss, it's actually another titled Douluo. Moreover, he just called the boy master. Does this mean that he is a boy's servant or housekeeper? Seeing this scene, everyone took a breath again. Above, the mysterious strong man had slowly descended from the sky, looking at the 5 titled Douluo coldly, making them always vigilant and ready for battle. At this time, they discovered that this mysterious strong man also wore an exquisite and mysterious mask. At the same time, the soul ring gradually emerged under his feet, and a huge aura pressed in instantly. Black, 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 red, 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 red. Did I see it wrong? It's a red soul ring. Isn't this a 10-year-old soul ring? He actually has 5 10-year-old soul rings. And the first 5 are at least year-old. This is too scary. Everyone's eyes suddenly widened, thinking that they had seen it wrong. It turned out to be 4 black and 5 red. Martial Soul Hall, if you want to fight, I will fight with you. What does it mean if a few people bully a child? He stood the golden warhammer at his feet and said coldly, "This person is naturally Tang Zhao, the leader of the Haotian sect. His current soul power has reached the peak of level 95, which is infinitely close to level 96. He is only 1 chance away from breaking through level 96. Therefore, his momentum is much calmer and stronger than the momentum of Yu Guan and Gui Mei at his feet. Because at their level, even half a level of soul power difference is still a huge gap. What's more, Tang Zhao is the leader of the Haotian sect. He brings the domineering power of a superior person and uses his strength to attack the Soul Douluo system. Facing characters like Yu Guan and Gui Mei, he is naturally completely worthy. What he wore on his face was the angel's disguise Tang Lin gave him. It not only changed his breath and momentum, but also directly decorated his martial soul and soul ring. Tang Lin didn't know Can Bibidong see it? However, he feels that the chance of Bibidong seeing the things produced by the system is not high. And even if they figure it out, they still have a plan. As for the man in black next to Tang Lin, he was naturally the second elder of the sect. He was a dignified and titled Douluo, but he actually nodded and bowed to Tang Lin and called him young master. At first, he was a little unhappy. After all, who was he? Tang Lin, who is this kid? However, when he saw Tang Lin kill a titled Douluo with one blow, his heart was deeply shocked. He put himself in his shoes and thought about it. Even if it were him, he would be the same if he was not careful. Same ending. Therefore, when he calls Tang Lin young master, there is not much resistance. Everything is for the purpose of rescuing Tang Feng. And at this moment, another mysterious strong man appeared in the sky, and his aura was equally terrifying. Chapter 175. Bibidong appears. Your Majesty the Pope. All the spirit masters from the spirit hall present breathed a sigh of relief when they saw the person coming, showing expressions of surprise. They immediately knelt down on one knee and paid respect. The person who appeared was naturally Bibidong. As soon as Bibidong appeared on the scene, he glanced coldly at the titled Douluo of Wuhan Palace and snorted. There were so many of them, but they couldn't defeat a young man. Moreover, this young man even injured a titled Douluo and killed one. A titled Douluo is simply a loser. Then, she looked at Tang Lin and the three of them. Tang Lin, Tang Xiao and the second elder all frowned. If Bibidong had not seen through Tang Xiao's disguise, they were almost 2% sure that they could save people and leave according to the original plan. But if Bibidong had seen through, then you can only enable the backup plan. Oh, are you the Pope of Wuhan Palace, Bibidong? Tang Xiao, who was wearing a mysterious mask in the air, turned back to look at Bibidong and said in a cold tone. At this time, he had put away his martial soul and soul ring. He didn't know Bibidong very well, but he also knew that Bibidong was not that simple. Besides, Tang Lin also told him that in Bibidong in front of Dang, if possible, try not to show the disguised martial soul and soul ring to avoid more variables. That's me. Bibidong looked at Tang Xiao. She originally didn't want to come out so early because Tang Hao, Tang Xiao and the others she was waiting for hadn't shown up yet, but she had to come out now because the emergence of the variable Tang Lin had completely disrupted her plan. Tang Lin, who was only a 5-ring Soul King, was really too weird. Not only did he seriously injure the 9th elder, but he also instantly killed the powerful Red Vine Douluo, and she felt the pressure of the two titled Douluo who suddenly appeared. One was wearing a black suit and was extremely respectful to Tang Lin. Most importantly, the masked man in front of her was even more extraordinary. Not only did he have 4 black and 5 Hong's terrifying soul ring, and even his martial soul have never appeared in the mainland. Various signs have shown that these 3 people are from a huge force, and judging from their conversation just now, Bibidong can confirm that they are powerful forces from overseas. After all, among the masters in mainland China, he had never seen such a figure, let alone such a perverted young man as Tang Lin. And her Wuhan Palace executed Tang Feng in public, but in order to fish out the 2 brothers Tang Xiao and Tang Hao, and then deal with these 2 powerful enemies, instead of letting the Wuhan Palace create another unknown enemy, before they could deal with it. A powerful enemy. Originally, she was thinking about whether she could subdue Tang Lin, but later she found out that she couldn't subdue him, so she planned to let Yi Guan and the others kill him. But now, the situation has changed. After this mysterious strong man appeared, it changed. Exclamation mark. Therefore, she must come out now. Who are you? Why did you forcefully break into my spirit hall? And you injured and killed 2 elders of my spirit hall? Bibidong looked down and asked coldly. It was the people from your Wuhan Palace who captured my young master's people first, and then I came to your Wuhan Palace to ask for them. However, your Wuhan Palace not only refused to return the person to me, but also took action against me several times despite my warnings. I also have a temper, okay, so I can only kill a piece of trash, so that you can remember it. What's wrong? Is there any problem? In response to Bibidong's question, Tang Xiao snorted, and before he could speak, Tang Lin stood up and said, now, it's time to see who's more powerful. Everyone was shocked when they heard Tang Lin's words, and Bibidong also frowned. Maybe others didn't know how Tang Lin killed Han Teng Douluo, but how could she not see it? So she knew that Tang Lin was using another kind of martial spirit, and it was also a kind of martial spirit that she had never heard of or seen before. She also didn't expect that Tang Lin was also a soul master with twin martial spirits, and the powerful control type titled Douluo Han Teng turned out to be what he called trash. Tang Lin is really too evil. If he grows up in the future, how terrifying and powerful will he be? Brat, shut up. After hearing Tang Lin's words, Tang Xiao couldn't help but smile in his heart, but he shouted coldly at Tang Lin, then looked at Bibi Dong, smiled slightly, and said, "My nephew is really a little ignorant. Please forgive me. Understand, I will definitely discipline him well after he goes back. As for him accidentally killing you people from Wuhan Hall, I'm very sorry. If you need any compensation, just say it. As long as it is what we have, we will never be stingy. Can the title Douluo who killed my spirit hall be solved with just an apology? As for compensation, it's really ridiculous. Do you think that my spirit hall, who is it, still lacks your compensation?" Bibi Dong didn't say anything. Yu Guan immediately understood and spoke. Oh. Tang Xiao couldn't help but laugh after hearing what they said. "In that case, what are your plans? Join our Wuhan palace." Yu Guan spoke again. "As long as this young man joins our Wuhan palace, not only will our Wuhan palace not pursue what happened today, but we will also make him the holy son of our Wuhan palace and treat him as a how about cultivating the next pope, so that this win-win situation is good for both you and me? Not so good. You, Wuhan palace, are not qualified to teach him." Tang Xiao sneered and replied, "Although my nephew is the one who killed your Wuhan palace, he is right. It was your Wuhan palace who captured him first and ignored his warnings. He took action because he had no other choice. Resistant. And if I had been a step too late just now, I'm afraid that my nephew would have been surrounded and killed by the people from your Wuhan palace. If something really happened to him, by then, all of you who had taken action against him would have escaped. But you should be grateful for the fate of death, because now, you just have a title Douluo dead. We never provoke others, but we are never afraid of any trouble that might get us, including you, Wuhan Palace, understand?" Tang Xiao's momentum was unprecedented, his voice was majestic and loud, and he already had the domineering power of a sect leader. Now when he spoke such words, his aura was naturally extraordinary. At first, they thought that Tang Xiao, an expert, would be different from a young and frivolous person like Tang Lin, but they did not expect that he was just as arrogant as Tang Lin. All the strong men in Wuhan Hall frowned immediately, especially the powerful Yu Guan and Jiu Mei. They felt extremely aggrieved. However, thinking of the terrifying soul ring and martial soul that this person showed when he appeared on the stage just now, in their hearts, they can only endure. "Your Excellency, when you speak like this, you don't take Wuhan Palace seriously enough," Bibi Dong said coldly. "Martial Soul Hall?" Tang Xiao sneered. "My nephew was not originally at fault for this matter, but I have given you enough face just now. Not only did I apologize to you, but I was also willing to compensate you. How did you respond to me? Question mark? I don't care what kind of power you have, if you respect me, I will respect you. If you don't respect me, then I'm sorry, that's how I always talk." It's so arrogant. Yu Guan's eyes narrowed into a thin line, full of murderous intent towards Tang Xiao, and he wanted to take action against Tang Xiao, but was stopped by Bibi Dong. "Your Excellency, are you determined to go against my spirit hall?" Bibi Dong narrowed his eyes slightly and asked. "You, Wuhan Hall, think too highly of yourselves." Tang Xiao responded coldly, which meant that Wuhan Hall was not even worthy of being his opponent, and he did not bother to embarrass Wuhan Hall. After saying that, he turned around and came to Tang Lin's side, wanting to leave with Tang Lin and others. At this moment, even he himself felt extremely uneasy. If Bibi Dong was afraid of them and let them leave, then everything would be happy. "Your Excellency, are you leaving now?" Just when they were about to leave, Bibi Dong's cold voice came again. "You can also choose to keep me, but you have to consider the consequences." Tang Xiao kept calm and threatened. Of course, he also knew that Bibi Dong would not be intimidated by him like this, but he had to say this, because only in this way, it was in line with his unparalleled temperament. Your Majesty wants to leave, so naturally I won't stop him. As for Han Teng, even if his skills are inferior to others, we, Wuhan Palace, will admit defeat. But, you can't just take this Tang Feng away. Bibi Dong appeared in an instant to the front, where they were leaving. 6 years ago, the Pope of my spirit hall, who was also my teacher, was killed by Haoshan Douluo of the Haoshan sect. Since then, the Haoshan sect announced their retirement. I thought they would keep to themselves. But I didn't expect that they would let the tribesmen come out and hunt down the people of our spirit hall. Today, the purpose is to execute him in public, to correct these evil tendencies, but you say that he is one of yours. Is it possible that you have formed an alliance with the Haoshan sect and want to deal with my Wuhan Palace? In other words, what kind of deal did you make with the Haoshan sect to help them rescue Tang Feng? Bibi Dong stared at Tang Xiao coldly. Although she was a little wary of Tang Xiao's martial spirit and soul ring, she had a lot of suspicions about Tang Xiao and the second elder, who were both wearing masks. Perhaps he was indeed the person from the Haoshan sect you mentioned before. However, as early as 6 or 7 years ago, he said that he had been expelled from the sect, so I accepted him. He has long been a member of this sect. The young master's man. Tang Lin said. It is also true that Tang Feng left the Haoshan sect. It was for the convenience of letting Tang Feng come out to do things for the sect. Oh, really? Bibi Dong gradually released his momentum, and the powerful men from Wuhan Palace instantly surrounded them. It's hard for people to believe what you said, not to mention whether he has really left the Haoshan sect just because he killed people in my spirit hall before. I can't just let him go with you. You guys, maybe you don't know that the person from my Wuhan hall didn't provoke him at that time. Bibi Dong always felt that something was wrong. She gradually looked at the second elder in black, and she murmured in her heart, this man is wearing a mask and a black suit. He hasn't even released his martial spirit since he appeared on the scene. There must be some fraud in this. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.